What's up, Seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry. I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. I seek the truth.
Oh, outside even real?
Alright, so since there was a bunch of weirdos in the comment section saying that, oh, don't do a transition, we don't trust you, we don't trust you with the transition, okay, there's a snowball, right here, or it's right here, hold on, alright, no transition, guys, in this world, including the snow. If you guys live somewhere else, you're getting snow, do the same thing, tag me in that shit, I'll throw it on my story.
Security guard at Banning High School took this picture of what he believes was a demonic figure that he claims had horns that were increasing in size, even corroborating what he saw with another teacher. Apparently he had seen this figure for 3 days in a row.
How did Jeffrey Epstein happen? Let's work and help. Just like Jeffrey Epstein, Ryan Upchurch has jelly rolled his wife to handle his dirty work.
What?
So I'm out mind my own business. Y'all see the Coca-Cola building there, and there's Georgia Tech. What is this? What's flying in the air?
That a salsa?
What the hell is this? And it's like a pole going down, but it can't. It's impossible. That cannot be anything that's that high, like erect.
Or it could just be a light.
Coca-Cola, honey, that's 20-some floors. So that's in the sky. What is this? Come on, Zoom. Don't fail me now.
UFO light.
Oh, no. What is this in the sky? Now, where did it go? What the? I'm glad I recorded. I just came upstairs and not a thing gone. Oh, yeah. What was that?
Hitchhike with bare feet? In the summertime, yes, but not in the wintertime. It's not healthy to go barefoot in the wintertime. No driver's license, no identification. What about a social security card? I don't have one. No, my parents did establish a social security number for me, and the card said not valid unless signed, so I never signed it, and then I studied the issue, and I decided to revoke my social security number. So in a way you don't exist?
And I had a birth certificate, but there was a flood and it washed away. I don't have that either. I don't exist in the eyes of the government, but I do exist in the lives of people that know me and my Father in heaven.
So you got to come out of the house if someone calls?
Yep.
So why do you have the phone out of the house? Distraction?
Yeah, if I'm studying my Bible or something, I don't want to be interrupted. I come out here to check messages, and when it's convenient for me on my schedule, I come, and then I'm going.
Is this how you get your water?
Yes, we've got a little gutter on the back of this shed here, and just fills up this rain barrel, and then I just keep it out.
No filter?
No.
Do you ever read, Titus?
Yes, I like to read my Bible, and I like to read history.
Yeah, this one gets.
So he's off the grid completely, bro. Not too many people can say that, man, and not people can live like that, bro. Off the grid. He just seems like a free spirit, bro. He free.
Gives me the chills. A woman took a cute photo of her kids peeking over a fence. The fence is a surround for a swimming pool, and on the other side of the fence is a graveyard. The kids said they were curious and wanted to look out into the graveyard. But in this seemingly normal photo, the woman captured a figure whispering to one of the children. There is a creepy gray face with glowing white eyes, with its mouth open, and it looks like it's talking in the ear of this child. Now, I'm not sure if the spirit is attached to this child, but I have noticed a recurring thing with photos of ghosts near water, and that is they do look like drowned victims. They are gray, they look bloated, they're usually kind of shiny, and that's what this looks like to me. So I'm wondering if maybe the spirit was attracted to the pool, and I'm not sure, but it kind of does look like the spirit is a child. It has a very small nose and mouth, and its head does seem to be about the same size as the other children's heads. What do you guys think about this? Let me know. And don't forget to like and follow for more.
You see this? You see what they're doing with their weird rituals in the middle of the night? Their secret hidden islands? I'm telling you, there's a lot of evil, strange shenanigans they're up to, and we're starting to find out, yeah, We're starting to see the truth. The truth is coming out, baby cakes. Shabadoo mooskies. Shabadoo.
You were told to stay in the house on February 18th if you lived in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware. They told people to stay inside because the air was so polluted that the air quality was hella bad. In fact, it was so bad, you had people going to the hospital because they were saying they couldn't breathe. People asthma was fucking up. Their chest felt like it was tightening. And they didn't know why. Because some people didn't get the alert. If you got the alert, let me know down below in the comments. But they went to the hospital and they were saying all these symptoms. And come to find out, they told people to stay inside because the air quality was fucked up. So it had me thinking, I'm like, bruh, that's crazy as fuck. What can have the air quality so bad? Could it be all the flying around? Now you fast forward to the 22nd. And these areas is supposed to get hit with 6 to 12 inches of snow. Would they do that at Sway? Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this down below in the comments. And also, what do y'all think caused the air quality to get so bad?
What the?
I don't know if they even got that alert, bro. I had no idea, man. That's why I watch these clips, bro, to be up to date. And they're manipulating the weather, bro. You think? That's why we keep getting all this snow.
What is going on in this place? Time doesn't even exist in this place. If you're easily scared, this will blow your mind, so please just keep on scrolling right now. Right, so this place right here is in Mexico, and by the name of it, doesn't sound very pleasant. This place right here is known as the Zone of Death. And this place is just bang in the middle of the desert. There's nothing there, no one around, just absolutely nothing. But there's something weird going on here because time just doesn't exist and doesn't work here. If you go to this place, your watch will just completely stop working. Phone clocks stop working. Any clock or anything you take there won't work because it interferes with the battery or whatever it may be. Apparently strange signals and frequencies cutting out and just everything is strange in this place, but it's just in the middle of the desert, so why? There are theories about this place, suggesting that when you go to this place, you will see a group of hitchhikers who are asking for your help. And when you do, bad things happen. People who have literally just driven through or entered this place have reported having strange hallucinations, feeling extremely weird. Now, this gets crazier again. Of course it does. So this place is actually dead in line with the Bermuda Triangle and the pyramids. And of course, we know both these places are a bit suspicious, to say the least. So the main theory is there something more going on in these places, something to do with the electricity, especially after finding that new electrical anomaly under the pyramids. Like, yeah, there is something serious going on.
Could be. Yeah, I won't be
You ever
honest.
watched the ghost cams at the Willard Public Library? Supposedly the building is so haunted that they've set ghost cameras up to catch paranormal activity, and you can find it all streaming live on their website. This is something that has just recently been brought to my attention by the creator that I've tagged in my description, so of course, when I heard about this, I had to go see it for myself. And it's true, they actually have ghost cams on at all times. On their website, they also give you a history of the known apparition that has been reported there the most, and they call her the Gray Lady. They've even had police summoned there because of a security alarm that was triggered, and according to these officers, one of them went inside to investigate and the other watched from the parking lot. Well, the officer that was in the parking lot said that he saw the ghost of a woman with a shadowy figure beside her through the window of the building. So when his colleague emerged, he asked if he had seen them, but they found no trace of anyone inside. Here's another story from the library assistant that's posted on their website. It says, shortly after being hired, a library assistant bravely addressed the Gray Lady while walking alone on the adult services floor. She politely asked not to be frightened and suggested the ghost communicate in gentler ways. Moments later, the elevator doors opened unexpectedly, the call light illuminated despite no one being inside. The assistant approached cautiously, finding the elevator empty. She believed this encounter was the Gray Lady's response, welcoming her to to the staff. I guess when the bathrooms were remodeled, the toilets started flushing on their own, so they had to call plumbers in, but there was no cause found. There was also a new projector that was installed that would move up and down by itself, so they called technicians in to investigate, but they couldn't figure it out either. They had this picture of the library founder's daughter hanging above the copier machine, and some people think that she could be the Grey Lady.
Oh, what is happening? In the UK, chocolate bars have become the latest item to be sealed in security boxes because, quote, it's being sold on by criminals and is now being targeted more frequently by prolific offenders. Brother, committing a crime for profit margins on a £2.60 item is getting out of hand. Multiple retailers, including Tesco's, Co-op, and Sainsbury's, have recently made the move to add chocolate to their high-value items that are targeted by thieves. Because, in the last few years, shoplifting in the UK has hit all-time highs. I mean, they're kind of fighting a losing battle at this point because, Co-op, for example, they lost £250,000 on chocolate alone last year, and that's despite spending £3 million on security and other measures to stop theft. The owner of Malcolm's convenience stores in Coventry said chocolate is the new buzzword for organized crime. Good lord.
Sasha is my alter ego. Sasha was in full effect. Guess I wouldn't be very entertaining on the stage, so Sasha comes out. Sasha is my alter ego, and when people see me, sometimes I think that when they meet me and they speak with me, they're expecting Sasha. She can do things that I cannot do when I'm in rehearsal, and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
Crazy conspiracy for wow. TikTok, but keep in mind this is just for entertainment purposes. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I'm pretty sure that there is a portal from hell behind the H in the Hollywood side. So I'm going down the Epstein Files rabbit hole, and I keep coming back to the satanic bullshit. And then I remembered that Dr. Evil's lair was behind the Hollywood sign. And then it clicked to me that in Percy Jackson, that little portal to hell was behind the H in the Hollywood sign. And then I remembered Wizards of Waverly Place. And in the episode called Dancing with the Angels, funny enough, the portal to this little hell world was behind the H in the Hollywood side. And what's crazy is that in each one of these movies and TV shows, behind the Hollywood side is somebody evil. Like this guy right here hijacked the moral compass so that he could influence everybody in the world to make bad decisions. Now ain't that just like Hollywood? Don't they sit there and brainwash us through the movies, music, and TV shows to get us to do whatever they want us to? And then in Percy Jackson, they literally went to hell. They literally went to Hades through the portal in the Hollywood side. And then what's really crazy is when you factor in that some 200 angels were cast out of heaven, and that Los Angeles means the city of angels. Did you pick it up when I put that?
Hollywood.
Magic words. Miska, Muska, Mickey Mouse. Say it with me.
Domain expansion. Infinite void.
What the hell, bro?
There are no bathrooms built in some of our most intricate, beautiful structures in the world. I mean, no toilets at all. That journey on the ancient builder race. Link in bio, free download of the map. For some reason, from 500 all the way up into 1800, there was no bathrooms. Disgusting. The timeline just doesn't make sense. How do we go all the way from Roman Greece to having aqueducts and plumbing and bathhouses, and then all the way up into year 500, and then from 500 to 1800, we just didn't use bathrooms. This is where we use logic. It doesn't make sense. You cannot look at these structures right here that I'm showing you and tell me that they could go that far in the detail and think that this was made to hold people for long periods of time. Just use your common sense here. There is no way that they overlooked the bathroom. If you believe that, stop the video now, save yourself. You're not gonna like any more of this. You're just go ahead, just go. Around the 1700s to 1800s, everything starts to pick back up and we start using plumbing again. Or we rediscover plumbing again. Also, this is where all the inventions came from. In 1800s, almost like we restarted. Yeah. Ancient master builders, why did they build these cathedrals with no bathroom? Because they were charging stations. These are energy frequency healing stations. That's what they were made for. I understand, it's hard to believe, but go with me on this thought exercise for a second. Let's say modern day, I build a structure that deals with frequency. In this structure, I amplify a certain frequency, and if you walk through it, you can be healed of certain ailments. Let's say I built this thing, and I have it open to the public. Modern day, right now, how long do you think that I can have my structure, frequency healing station, open to the public for free? How long do you think that I could operate without coming up gone, or them just taking it completely? And two, once the system took it, which they would take it, do you think they're going to keep it at 100%, or are they going to dilute it, control it, turn this into some sort of financial beneficial system for them? What's the difference between modern day and back then? Why were all of the organs and all of these structures dismantled, toned down, or completely disappeared? Some of them just disappeared. Think about massive organs. Just look at the size of these things. I have to tell you that whatever they were made for, we are not receiving it right now. This is not a debate. I'm asking you just to feel it. And let me know if you do feel it. That's why I believe the ancient builders did not and would not and didn't need to include bathrooms in these structures. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the ancient builders. Next we get into the frequencies, the symbolism, and the stained glass windows. Alright, it's us.
Oh, I understand it now. This is exactly why the distractions is in place. And when you align your chakras and raise your inner water, you awaken your true self. Wow. Y'all know who this is? This is the son of Ra, bro. This is the dude that hijacked our reality, bro, and gave us this 3D nature. You motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. So y'all telling me that Yahweh came down to help us in the war with the sun god Ra? You're telling me what the ancients said was really true? Are we getting deep now? See, the ancients say that it's false light coming from Mars, bro, and that our true sun might just be the moon this whole time. No wonder it's a reflection, bro. It's trying to help you remember. Oh. See, we understand it now. Now we are getting somewhere. This is why Yahweh fell down. This is why the water is sacred, bro. Shut the fuck up right now. Do not play with me right now. So when they say you fall down in frequency, bro, and it has to go back up, that's what they mean. That's Yahweh trying to help y'all ascend into 5D nature. See, most of y'all stuck here in a 3D state, where some of us already moved forward. But for the awoken ones like myself, we fluctuate in between 4D and 5D frequencies. And only time we come backwards is when they try to pull us back here. The low vibrational ones. But see, when you reach 5D, that's where unconditional love and manifestation actually begins, y'all. Oh. Y'all think I'm playing with y'all right now? Who understands what I'm talking about? This is why I preach eating healthy and putting high vibrational stuff within your body. Because if observations are correct, then we are in for a rude awakening when those aliens get here, bro.
What's that?
Well, who? What they did? Y'all want to show us aliens flying around, probably walking around the mall. We know they was there. We was talking about that behind y'all back.
16 weeks ago, Casey Neistat found a hole in a New York sidewalk, so we flew all the way out to find it. Unfortunately, it was sealed. But after posting the video, we got an anonymous tip about a secret tunnel system inside of a synagogue. We were told it was somewhere inside of the basement. So we went down to check. There were a bunch of strange rooms that still had power. But inside of this closet, somebody had broken the wall to find their way in. They even cut a hole into this metal to get into the secret tunnel. Then we found this strange looking vent, which was actually a tunnel system that went on for miles. I can't believe we actually found tunnels in New York City. There were even stairs inside of the tunnel. They even had massive fans for ventilation. The craziest part was when I walked down here and I found another room. This room looks like it's for a fallout shelter. I even found a bunker with a bed inside of it.
Hold up, y'all. Y'all ever ask yourself, why did they drop this whole Jeffrey Epstein situation on the 1st of February, the start of Black History Month? Y'all ever ask yourself that? In fact, scrolling through my whole timeline, all I'm seeing is Jeffrey Epstein stuff. I'm not seeing no Black History stuff. It's like, are y'all trying to erase this once again? Hold up. Did y'all know that the only women that he was not interested in, do y'all think that's random? I don't believe in that, y'all. So they don't want that talked about during this very moment, during this month? And that's because we are waking up. This is supposed to be a winter month. It's hot as hell, y'all. But this month is really supposed to be about Black resilience, Black unity, Black intelligence. And what do? They drop a distraction right in front of us. Because I'm going to really tell you what they're really afraid of. It's not violence, y'all. It's us uniting and coming together and creating a community. Why do you think what happened to Tulsa happened? This right here is one of the projects that actually has true purpose versus 90% of the projects that other people are investing into. We did not start this program by accident. We didn't do this for clout, y'all. We did this for purpose. And now with over 5,000 holders who finally see vision, we are about to go up. This is a celebration for us. So if you're tired of these distractions and tired of history repeating itself instead of making it, then this is your chance right now. It all starts with an investment. The contract address will be pinned in the comments below, y'all. This whole month, we are rising in numbers, y'all. This is our time to shine. Comment juice and I'll DM you the link to the free Telegram group.
Last words people said right before dying. A 20-year-old gang member was dying of primary liver cancer. In his last days, hours, and moments, he was angry. The family called the hospice nurse into the room and told her that they thought he was going. He wasn't responding. His eyes were glossy. His skin was cold. The end was imminent. His lovely mother whispered to him to go towards the light, to her Jesus. He opened his eyes, looked at her, and said, "F your Jesus." A second or two later, he slowly turned his head to the left and got the most horrific look on his face, as if he was looking at something that they couldn't see. And horrified, his face contorted, and he screamed with his last breath, eyes wide, "Oh sh*! Oh sh*! Oh no!" Then he made a guttural noise and promptly fell back into the bed and died. Every family member was shaking and too frightened to speak. The hospice nurse left the room and took 2 days off. She said she doesn't care if she never finds out what he saw.
Things you never
What
knew.
did he see?
Bears in Russia sometimes become so hungry in the summer that they become desperate for food and go to cemeteries to feast on the recently buried corpses. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space. It lasted around 42 seconds. To this day, we don't know where that signal came from. If you're ever unsure with meeting up with someone and you want to stay safe, use publicdatacheck.com. It allows you to do background checks on anyone. And even has an unknown phone number lookup for those phone numbers that call you that aren't in your contacts. This has saved a lot of people from weird and strange situations. So check out publicdatacheck.com. If your immune system found out you had eyes, it would attack them until you go blind. In 2002, actor Anthony Starr received a 12-month prison sentence because he had a bar fight in Spain. Witnesses say he drunkenly punched and smashed a bottle on a chef's head, saying to him, "You committed the mistake of your life. I'm going to look for you. I want to you." He managed to avoid jail time by paying the victim $4,000. Now, if you made it to the end of this video, let me tell you a secret. Typing "scream" all lowercase with the bars around it like this, we'll give you a secret emoji down below. Let's see who can actually do it.
My man, the Homeland actor, man, he took that a little bit too seriously. What's that acting called when they, try to stay in character? I forgot, man, but he took this Homelander, took it to the next level. That's kind of insane. I never heard about that story before. Damn. You guys think, man, Homelander in real life going rogue?
Did you know that people have seen mermaids in Indiana?
Ooh.
Well, not the cute Disney mermaids that we're thinking about. No, these mermaids are referred to as mud mermaids. These sightings have been going on since the late 1800s. People in Indiana along the Ohio River have reported to see them on the banks of the river for years. And what they've reported sounds almost a little bit disturbing. These aren't your fairy tale mermaids. People say that they have green skin, hands like humans, but with long talons and webbed fingers, and razor-sharp teeth. They also say that they walk on the banks like dogs because instead of legs, like normal mermaid myths, they have tails. And they have absolutely no hair at all. Now, whatever these weird things may be, people say they're not known to attack. When they're sighted, usually they're eating other fish or frogs. But still, razor-sharp claws and teeth, that doesn't sound very inviting to me. So maybe these are freshwater mermaids, or maybe there's something else entirely. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna stay away from the banks of the Ohio River, because I do not want to run into one and find out if it really is friendly.
This is one of the worst ways somebody has ever died. In October 2012, an awful and disturbing thing happened. A 62-year-old employee at Bumblebee Foods named Jose Molina was having a normal day in the Bumblebee facility in California. In his schedule, Jose was tasked with the performance maintenance on an 11-meter-long industrial oven, so he went inside one of the tanks to begin his work. Believing that Jose was in the bathroom, one of his co-workers actually shut the tank's door, trapping Jose inside, and then filled the oven with 5,400 kilograms of tuna and then turned the oven on. A search then ensued when the manager realized Jose was missing, but by then it was way too late. They found Jose's body 2 hours later inside the oven, completely burnt and melted away, 100% unrecognizable. The temperature inside the oven reached 270 degrees Fahrenheit, and Jose was unfortunately cooked alive inside of the tank with all the fish. And you could only imagine how horrific this death actually was. Could you imagine being cooked alive and then being crushed by tens of thousands of pounds of fish, mixed with the smell, the texture, the heat? This death was just awful. The company Bumblebee and 2 managers were actually charged for this death, and the company got off with a $6 million settlement. But do you think $6 million is way too low for a death like this? Many people believe it should have been more close to $50 million. Nonetheless, this is by far one of the worst and most uncomfortable deaths of all time, and I can't imagine Jose's thoughts as he was being cooked alive with hundreds of fish.
We need to talk about Johnny Depp's portrayal of the Mad Hatter, because it is full of dark history Easter eggs that you may have missed. If you know of the character the Mad Hatter, then you may also know about the dark history of hatters. For 250 years, people that made hats were using a poisonous mercury-based solution that caused their bodies to fall apart and for them to slowly lose their minds, which I just did a whole episode on that and other deadly beauty and fashion trends that you should check out. When Johnny Depp got the role of the Hatter, he became obsessed with the dark history of hat making, and he wanted to include parts of that history in the character. And the biggest homage he pays to that history is with the orange hair. The mercury solution that hatters used to use was called carroting solution because it was so bright orange. They would sit in these poorly ventilated rooms all day just inhaling the poisonous mercury, getting sicker and sicker. And Johnny Depp wanted to honor that. He wanted the skin to be pale and sickly. He wanted his teeth to look like they were decaying because that's what would happen to these people. And finally, and this is my favorite detail, he put a lot of details into the costume to make it look like he was a hat maker. Up here in his hat, there's tools to make hats. He has a ring that's a push pin, and on the other side he has this belt of thread so he could be sewing hats all day. Anyways, I have so much more on the dark history of hatting in this week's episode, and you're definitely going to want to check it out.
Morbid facts about Michael Jackson, Part 3. In 2002, Michael was staying at a hotel in Berlin when he dangled his 9-month-old son blanket over his 4th floor balcony. Jackson claimed he was simply excited and wanted to show off his baby to the fans below, but the media was quick to criticize Michael's parenting skills and life-threatening behavior. Jackson later apologized, stating that it was a mistaken judgment and that he didn't mean to endanger his son. Blanket is now 21 years old and rarely makes public appearances. During the shooting of a Pepsi commercial in 1983, Michael's hair caught on fire when the pyrotechnics went off too early. He suffered second-degree burns to his scalp and permanently lost a chunk of his hair. Many say that this moment was a major turning point in Michael's life, claiming that the painkillers he took after the accident started his downward spiral into a life of pain and drug addiction. But despite all of this, instead of suing Pepsi, Michael asked the company to fund the creation of a burn center.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. If your plane is crashing into the water, just know that flight attendants are trained to not allow any dead bodies on life rafts. That means no saving grandma for her funeral, simply yeet that bitch overboard. 1 out of every 50 women have a third nipple, and 1 out of every 100 men do too. This is known as a supernumerary nipple, and Mark Wahlberg actually has one. Harry Styles has 2. Your baby foreskin can be used as replacement skin for burn victims. That means one can quite literally be a dick face. There are corn stars born in the year 2003. That's the same year The Cat in the Hat came out. Male fetuses get boners in the womb, and these can often be seen on ultrasounds. Motherfucker.
Here are some things that are completely normal during the day, but really creepy at night. Digging holes in your backyard. I mean, it's your backyard, and you're entitled to do whatever you want to it, but if I see you digging some holes in the middle of the night, I'm gonna be really concerned. Bonus creepy points if you have some trash bags next to you, too. I feel bad for people who work graveyard shifts or are night owls, because it makes it difficult to do any gardening or landscaping without looking pretty creepy. They say a child's laughter is one of the most beautiful sounds in the world, but not if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Scary movies have absolutely ruined the sound of a child laughing for me, because most instances, I'm gonna assume the worst. And for some reason, little girls laughing are even more scary. Like, imagine being in the woods camping and you hear some little girl laughing in the distance. My brain isn't gonna think, oh cool, some family must be camping near us. No, I'm gonna think that I'm gonna get murdered or possessed by some demon. Someone knocking on your door. During the day, it's annoying. Who the fuck is showing up at my house unannounced? It must be a salesman or, worse, Mormons. That same knock at 3 in the morning? No, I'm getting murdered for sure. I'm on the 2nd floor, and my only way out is to jump out the window, so I'm done for.
Hey, what the hell? Took it too far.
Probably keep you up at night. Number 1, your ears never stop growing. They get bigger and bigger the more you age. Number 2, during a person's lifetime, on average, a person spends 1 whole year sitting on the toilet. Number 3, in 1977, we received an audio signal from space that was 42 seconds long. To this day, we don't know where this audio signal came from. Number 4, raining animals. Throughout history, there have been documented instances of animal rain, a phenomenon where frogs, fish, and even spiders are swept up in waterspouts and then fall from the sky with raindrops. Number 5, the zone of silence is an area in Mexico where radio signals and any type of communication cannot be received or sent. Number 6, the boiling river. In the heart of the Peruvian Amazon lies a river so hot that it boils. The Chennai-Tempishka River. It reaches temperatures up to 93 degrees Celsius or 200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Damn.
Number 7, the sleeping city of Kalachi. Residents of Kalachi, Kazakhstan, have been plagued by a mysterious condition that causes people to fall asleep for several days, often waking up with no memory of the episode. Investigations suggest that elevated levels of carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons due to uranium mines might be the cause, though no definite explanation has been established. Number 8, the Voynich manuscript. This mysterious book dates back to the 15th century. It is filled with writings of an unknown language or code and detailed illustrations of non-existent plants, astronomical diagrams, and strange human-like figures in bizarre contexts. Despite efforts of cryptographers and scholars, no one was able to solve these codes. We don't know what the book says. We don't know who wrote it.
These are the 5 scariest space facts. You've been warned. If a massive asteroid was headed for the Earth, the chances are there isn't really much we could do. At any moment, the Sun could emit a coronal mass ejection aimed at the Earth, and if we weren't prepared for it, it could destroy the entire world's energy grid and leave us without power for years. There are black holes lurking in the shadows, roaming throughout our galaxy, and if one entered our solar system, it would be all over. When a star runs out of fuel, it can emit a gamma ray burst, and if a star within 3,000 light years of Earth happened to emit a gamma ray burst, and it was aimed at us, the ozone layer would be destroyed. Finally, every year there is more space junk created, putting us at risk of being trapped within the Earth.
How are we polluting space now, too?
If you haven't heard about the extremely disturbing case known as the Girl Scout murders, then you may want to stick around. Viewer discretion is advised. In June of 1977, more than 100 girls headed off to Camp Scott in Locust Grove, Oklahoma, hoping for a summer filled with fun and newfound friendships. But little did these girls know that their dream would become short-lived extremely fast after a tragic event took place on the campgrounds. It was about 2 months before the incident occurred when a young camp counselor found a note in her belongings claiming that there was going to be 3 girls in one tent murdered this year while all the girls were attending camp. Knowing that the campers and other counselors like to play pranks on one another, she just dismissed the note and left it there as a joke. But little did she know that she would come to regret this very quickly when the tragic events began to unfold on the campgrounds. On the night of June 12, 1977, a storm blew through Oklahoma, leaving the girls to take cover and hide away in their sleeping bags to be protected from the bad weather. It wouldn't be until the next morning that a camp counselor would come and check on the girls after the storm and realize that 3 of them were stuffed deep down in their sleeping bags with bloody sheets and signs of strangulation. The girls whose dead bodies were found in those sleeping bags were 8-year-old Lori Farmer, 9-year-old Michelle Goose, and 10-year-old Denise Milner. After the death of these 3 innocent girls, police and other law enforcement agencies rushed to the scene so that they could start their investigation and get to the bottom of who could have possibly targeted these 3 innocent girls. Discovered near the campgrounds was a cave that police would decide to go into, where they would find masking tape and 2 wedding photos, which seemed to be a very strange combination. After the photos were released to the public, an old prison employee actually called in, claiming that he has seen those photos before and he's almost certain he knows who committed these horrific acts on these young women. And he believed that the person behind these sick and twisted murders was a man by the name of Gene Leroy Hart, who was an escaped convict and convicted rapist back during the time of the Girl Scout murders. The crazy thing is, Hart was actually acquitted due to the lack of evidence on the police end, and he claimed that he was actually framed and that he did not commit the murders, even though there was trace evidence of his DNA found at the crime scene. And it's still unknown if Hart actually committed these murders or if he was actually just framed. And now, here in 2023, after the not guilty verdict years and years ago, there is new evidence that has arisen that Gene Leroy Hart was actually very closely linked with these murders.
Gotta wait after all that damn time. Creepy cave seekers.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. Registered nurse Shirley Smith said that she had a very rich patient who was a true Satanist that was dying of cancer. The patient had upside-down crosses and a Satan's Bible by her bedside. Shirley said that she will never forget what happened. It was the middle of the summer, and yet it was so cold and dark in her room that you couldn't even stand it, even in the middle of the day. She said that it got so evil feeling in there that she had to call a priest to pray with her and her aides before they would even enter the room. When the patient passed away, she had not spoken in over 24 hours. And then all of a sudden, she sat straight up and said, "Satan, take me." And then she fell back on the bed. Shirley said that after she passed, the room got bright and extremely warm. Shockingly, when they moved the patient's body, they had to get rid of the mattress because where her body had been, it looked burnt, and the most horrible smell was emanating from the mattress cover. Needless to say, Shirley went to confession immediately because she did not want an evil spirit around her. A nurse said that one of their patients had a serious recurrence and had to be admitted. Over the course of several nights, he had become quite upset during rounds. He kept asking for his wallet, saying that he had to pay the ferryman. The medical student on rotation in the department took a quarter out of his pocket and put it in the patient's hand. The patient then dropped the coin into the cup on his bedstand and calmed down. Later that night, he passed away quietly. The nurse asked what happened. The medical student, who remembered his Greek mythology, said that the patient had to pay Charon, the ferryman, to be taken across the river Styx. A nurse said that he was doing rounds at a hospital. There was one two-patient room, and one of the patients was a very loud and confused woman who could be quite a handful. On this particular night, she had a roommate who had passed away shortly before the nurse entered the room. She was DNR, so there was no code blue. When he entered the room, he noticed that the elderly lady, who was usually very loud and confused, was sitting quietly with her hands crossed neatly upon her lap. Something was different, and there was this look of serenity on her face. She asked him in a voice that seemed much younger and clearer than before, "Did you see them, young man? They're so beautiful." He said, "No, ma'am, there's no one else here." She said, "They're right next to you, talking to Mrs. Banneker. The angels. They're so beautiful." He said that he instantly felt every hair of his body stand up, and an electric tingle course up and down his spine. "They're not here for me this time," she said sadly.
Interesting things today. This graph shows what's called graduation inflation, where you see the dark blue line is the high school graduation rate going up dramatically since the year 2010. But the light blue line is the average SAT score going down at the same time. 1 in 1,000 men over the age of 35 have a visible six-pack. 5 in 100 men in between 30 and 40 are millionaires. So the odds of you either being a man or dating a man that is a millionaire with a six-pack in his 30s is 1 in 20,000. Better odds than the lottery. There was a restaurant owner in Kentucky who intentionally flooded his own restaurant with clean water to protect it from an incoming river flood. That's smart and quick thinking.
How is there a shadow here when nothing is in the sky?
You guys see that shadow?
It shouldn't be there.
Where? Where?
This might actually
Where?
prove
Where
we
are
have
the
cloaking
clouds?
technology.
Where are the clouds?
The only way this makes sense is if we have cloaking technology. Like, there is an aircraft in the sky that has been cloaked, like, it's invisible pretty much. But what do I know? Stay weird.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but King Solomon used these sigils to be able to trap demons and use them to build his temple. I know it sounds crazy, but it's real. And, or they believe this. And for some reason, computer circuit boards also follow those same patterns that almost look exactly like these sigils. And maybe I'm connecting too many dots, but I think that's weird, because El means God, at least in the old translations. El meaning spirit or God, electricity. I don't know. Maybe I'm kooky. This is my driver. Has anyone else noticed that? I broke my Game Boy once and I could never unsee the circuit board, you know? It was so upsetting. Here we go.
Never knew that L in the old Hebrew language stands for God. Circuitry boards. And he said Solomon using to trap demons. It's all clipped like that similar before, man, but another one just confirming it. Shapeshifter?
Boy, that motherfucker just shapeshifted right in front of our face, man. Y'all let me know if this really cap, but I'm putting the grave. Shit is crazy.
That's definitely a chip. Why can't he take it out? What are we putting in our bodies, man?
Cute though.
Chip.
They're cute.
That's
They're cute.
cute.
Что за это?
They're trying to track us.
Что такое? Что за корова? Корова? Что мясо?
A lot of us are going to die in August. August 12th, 2026, the world will lose gravity for 7 seconds.
Who said that?
NASA. They're preparing and they won't tell us why. Leaked online, the project's budget is $89 billion.
Shoot.
And its goal is to survive a 7-second gravitational anomaly expected August 12th, 2026. And expected casualties will be 40 to 60 million people.
What?
They go on 1 to 2 seconds. Everything not secured will rise. People, vehicles, animals. 3 to 4 seconds in. Objects will continue to rise to 15 to 20 meters up. 5 to 6 seconds in. Panic and chaos will ensue. People hit ceilings. 7 seconds. Gravity returns. And everything falls from the sky. And 40 to 60 million people are dead.
Imagine you're pooping and then it goes back up. Dude, what a cleanup.
This is Erica Kirk. Another Erica Kirk. Same exact name, same exact spelling, both political wives, both married to outspoken Republicans. Current Erica is nicknamed Miss Arizona, and the first Erica was nicknamed Madam X. People called the first Erica Kirk Madam X because they say she just kind of showed up out of nowhere. Both have striking blue eyes and blonde hair. They even do their eyeliner the same, and personally, I think they have the same face structure. The first Erica Kirk passed away now, but was from Palm Beach County, Florida, which raises another huge red flag. If you've been following my videos, you know why. I don't want to tell you guys what to think. I'm simply giving you the information. Do you think these are like all coincidences, or is there something else going on here?
Oh, it's so cold outside that trees in certain areas are exploding. Literally exploding, just like this.
Damn.
Shit sound like a bomb. Imagine you walking and you just hear, boom. What you doing? I know I'm balling, fool. Nigga, I'm running like you saying, fool.
Yep.
But for the ones that don't believe me, look at this video, y'all. Listen.
You hear it. Whoa.
Fool, I know y'all heard that shit. Ain't seen it. I'm today's old. This is my first time ever hearing about a tree exploding from the cold, let alone seeing the shit.
Our first two.
I need y'all to let me know down below in the comments and be truthful. Is this y'all first time hearing about this or seeing some shit like this? Because it is for me. I don't know where that video was, but I can only think of it like those trees must not be accustomed to that type of coldness. That's all I can think about. Because if it's trees that's usually in a cold, ain't no way they're gonna explode, right? Y'all let me know y'all thoughts down below in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on all news, any news, make sure you hit that follow button.
Hold. Bro, have you guys ever seen, I guess now today, bro, have you guys ever seen a tree freaking explode because it was too cold? That was my first time seeing that, man. I think it's because of the storm. I guess it's because of the polar vortex storm that's coming. I guess the trees, man, they're not used to that type of coldness, man. They just boom, bro. It's actually insane, man. Trees exploding because it's too cold. Bro, what else is 2026 got in store for us?
The grate off the vent, and his baby brother crawled straight in. He dropped 8 feet down the hole before getting stuck at the bottom. Now, their mom was in the other room and had no idea what happened until the toddler came in yelling, "Baby in." He showed her the open vent, and she realized her baby was inside. Rescuers tried to reach him, but he was in too deep, so an officer crawled under the house, pushing the baby up the shaft and back into his mother's arms. And after that, she screwed the grate shut.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Russia has received the biggest snowstorm it's ever gotten in over 124 years. Now, I live in Canada. I've been seeing a lot of snow, but nothing like this. It's really making me wonder what is going on. Is all of this natural, just God's plan, or is something much deeper and much more sinister going on here? You guys know I've been exposing the fake snow here in Canada. When you try to burn it, it just burns black. It doesn't melt. It smells like plastic. So I really think that Canada's doing the same thing as maybe Russia, but I'm not 100% sure. If anyone is in Russia and wants to try this, let me know. My intuition's really just telling me that none of this is natural, that something else is going on here. Weather manipulation, possibly from other countries, because they can do that. We are always at war with these specific countries because they don't have Rothschild central banks and all this stuff. So maybe, just maybe, this is what's happening, and it's leaving no fingerprints attached. That's the whole plan. Look up HARP, look up geoengineering, look up chemtrails, all this stuff. That's what's causing these weather events. I'm not 100% sure. This is just a hypothesis. I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist once again, guys. But let me know what you think about this storm that's happening in Russia right now in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and follow for more hidden truth. Peace and love.
China just put doctors inside vending machines, and they're diagnosing patients in 4 minutes with 95% accuracy. They've deployed 2,200 AI-powered health kiosks across the country, including 250 inside Shanghai's metro system alone. You walk in, describe your symptoms, and the machine scans your vitals while an AI trained on 300 million medical consultations analyzes what's wrong with you. Before anything gets prescribed, a licensed doctor reviews everything remotely, so there's still a human in the loop, but the AI does the heavy lifting, covering over 2,000 diseases and cutting wait times by 70%. The results so far are insane. 15,000 people use the Shanghai kiosks every month. Healthcare costs dropped 30%, and the diagnostic accuracy is holding steady at 95%, which is on par with human doctors for common conditions. This isn't a pilot program, it's fully operational at scale, and multiple countries are already trying to copy it. While most of the world is still debating whether AI should be allowed in healthcare, China built 2,200 of these things and put them in subway stations. Do you think AI doctors will come to your country, or will regulations keep them out? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed stories like this, follow my page for more.
Shoot, the way they pushing AI, I won't be surprised, man. Like they're gonna replace the actual human doctors, bro. Everybody just keep freaking pumping money into AI, man. I heard, I don't know, there's like 100 billion in AI, probably more than that, bro. Any excess money is going straight to AI, man. So, bro, you gotta be careful with that, man. Trying to take the doctors' places now.
Research shows that the human Y chromosome, which essentially makes men, is slowly disappearing. And scientists are now divided on what this could mean for the future of the male species. See, when you look at the DNA structure in men and women, females have 2 X chromosomes, while males have an X and a Y. But research has shown, and excuse the pun, the human male's Y chromosome seems to be battling with the old pesky shrinkage. Some experts suggest that the Y chromosome will completely leave our DNA in roughly 5 million years. Now, due to the lack of men in the world, there would be major fertility problems leading to human extinction. But at the same time, not the worst era to be around as a man, though. However, other researchers believe that this isn't going to be a problem at all, stating that we would just simply move over to another chromosome to produce males as other species have done. But the question is, whose Y chromosome has started this process 5 million years too early?
I know what's going on in Cleveland, Ohio right now. Mothers, fathers, do you care to know? There's been 30 missing children within just 2 weeks. 30 missing children. How is it that Ohio has 11.75 million people and no one knows what's going on in Cleveland, Ohio with our children? It's not getting national news. It's not getting any coverage whatsoever. No one's covering anything on this matter except me. I know exactly what's going on with our children. I need you to listen and pay attention. If you're operating at a low vibrational frequency, you're not going to understand what I'm saying. What I'm about to show you is profound. It's going to be unbelievable, but it's the reason why these beings are in my background. Pay attention. I'm about to show you.
Okay. There's something dark and dangerous happening in Cleveland, Ohio. Nearly 30 children have been reported missing in the area over a 2-week span in May. That's right, about 30 kids vanishing over a 2-week span last month. It's frightening. Between May 2nd and May 16th, 27 people under the age of 18 reported missing, according to Cleveland police. And one local police chief hasn't seen anything like it before.
Well, there's peaks and valleys when it comes to missing persons, but this year just seems to be like an extraordinary year. In my 33 years in law enforcement, this just seems like an unusually high number.
Law enforcement isn't sure if these kids were trafficked, involved in gang activity, caught up in drugs. Doesn't help it Cleveland is one of the highest crime rates in the nation. The other problem is a lack of photos of many of these missing kids. If you look through Cleveland's missing persons page, you'll see many
What color are they?
blurbs that say photo not available. These missing children's cases do not make the news unless they're Amber Alert.
Now I'm about to show y'all why this is happening. Pay attention.
Our children are being abducted and sacrificed to feed the
This is true. This is what's happening. I know it sounds unbelievable, but this is why this is taking place with our children. We must protect our children, stand by our children, love our children. But this is why Satan was the only angel that fell from heaven. It was a third that fell with him. I love y'all. Protect our children.
thing, man. Fixing a reptilian race. That's why those were the missing people, missing children, missing kids be going. Sacrifice? Dark rabbit hole, man.
What's that? What's that? I saw something like that when I went back there and walked. Yeah, it's real little. We talking about, I don't know if you saying dimming it out, but it's the only thing up there that look brighter than everything else.
Right. That's like, I know I'm not tripping. Do y'all see that?
Okay, I see it now. First, I couldn't see it.
That thing is celebrating.
It's Arizona. You see UAP activity out there?
What is it?
Or is that the effects of the phone from zooming in?
What is that? It's in the middle of the daytime. It's bright as hell. That thing gotta be hella bright to be doing that in the middle of the daytime. Yeah.
That's something.
What's that?
I just disappeared.
What's that?
It's like turning on and off. It's trying to cloak itself.
How you doing? I'm waving it. What if it's a sniper? It's like sniping in mine.
Hey, get down then.
They are actually doing it. I know a lot of people are going to be very unhappy with this one. There's been a lot of changes and things that have been being talked about in the UK for a long time now. We had the Online Safety Act, of course, that countered kids seeing certain things, but of course everyone just used VPNs and kind of got around it. Last year, there was a huge amount of talk about putting in screen time limits on kids' phones. While that was going on, though, Australia passed a bill which literally banned under 16s from using social media in its entirety. And that got the UK thinking, well, why don't we do that here? Now, people were very, very skeptical. They're thinking, there's no way that's going to come in the UK. No one's going to approve that. Well, it looks like they have. It looks like they have. It is now pretty much in its final stages in the Houses of Parliament to allow social media to be banned for anybody under the age of 16, meaning you won't be able to access Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any of the social media platforms until you're over that age. Half the people are concerned about security risks and saying this is just not right and this shouldn't be happening, but of course it has a lot of backing from the government that this is literally going to happen, and there is a lot of parents and people who are in favour of this happening. So it looks like it is going to happen, and I know that every single child who's under 16 years old who has been using social media that's not going to be allowed suddenly is going to be fuming. But let me know if you think this is a good idea or a bad one, and I'll keep you updated.
Australia, thinking UK, who's next, man? Banning social media for kids under 16, bro. That does actually sound bad, man. Or we need to, monitor, bro. Social media nowadays, and man, it's crazy. You have to add some way of time to monitoring it for the kids.
What will make y'all think it's okay to leave your keys under your welcome mat? That is an invitation for death. I just watched a video where a man or a woman or whatever it was, holding a knife, was searching under people's welcome mats, trying to get into people's door. You don't believe me, right?
Look at this shit. Tell me this shit is right here. Pay attention to everything that goes on.
Okay.
And then tell me what it looks like. This is all on ring camera footage.
Oh yeah, she definitely got something on
Nah, man.
a knife in her mouth, yo.
Stop being so trusting.
Oh hell no.
Knife in mouth, butt ass naked. Nah, man. Now just imagine you're home, your kids, your family, resting, and you see somebody like that come in your room. Knife in mouth, butt ass naked with a sheet wrapped around you, looking like some shit from another planet. Mind you, if you look at that video, you see that whatever it was, tried both door handles and then went up the stairs. Apparently, he or she or whatever it was didn't even live there. Y'all gotta stop being so trusting. There are people walking around with real mental health issues. Really crazy. And like I said, that lady or man or whatever it was didn't even look like it was from this planet. Pay attention.
Okay, I thought everybody got a wood stove because everyone's buildings, like, look at this. Starbucks. I hope no one goes to that. Like, I've never been to Starbucks. You should never go to Starbucks. The first thing, the girl on the front of it is literally Medusa. It's a satanic imaging, and it's got all this funky dunky ingredients. But my point is that, sorry guys, it's a bit bumpy, the freaking road. It's like we're in Yakutia right now, man. I'm talking bumpy roads. Oh, look at this smokestack. You think someone's polluting? That's just the exhaust. It's minus freaking 20, man. It's minus 27. It's minus, the wind was minus 37. In Swiss Chalet, I used to work there. I worked at Swiss Chalet, and I got demoted from server to kitchen. So I can send you guys videos. If I was still working there, see, here's the thing. I could have cried about being demoted. Instead, I became who I am now. If I was demoted, if I wasn't demoted, I might be still serving there right now. Which is fine. It could be a toxic cow, like that guy. Dude, it is freaking bumpy. I can't maintain the stabilization on this thing. I need a gimbal.
Yeah, hit by the storm.
You know what that is? Anyway, it's freaking cold out, guys. So stay warm, stay safe, and we love you all the way from up north.
You motherfuckers. So you telling me this whole time they've been mining our shit, and this whole time the Grand Canyon was not made by a river? Ain't that suspicious? That these same lines, bro, they've been mining our asses, bro, cutting down what? Oh, hell no. This shit is no coincidence. And it's crazy that the Milky Way is right on top of this shit, y'all. Like, seriously, bro. They are playing in our fucking faces. Why the fuck y'all wanna disconnect us so bad, though? It's the real question. Is it cause it's something going on in our faces? What do y'all mean, ancient civilizations, bro? Y'all talking about AI? Who built them big ass machines, bro, to mine that concrete, bro? You don't see those big ass machines, bro. Let's get realistic here. You motherfuckers. They been here, bro. Who are they?
Shit. Look at this. Look at the eyes.
Oh, you know.
Look at that. Now ask yourself this. Oh, shit, hold on. Isn't that ice? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Could that would be what's going on in Antarctica, in the Caribbean, y'all? Cause look at this. What? Look at the ice. Now look at Venezuela. Look at this, y'all. Hold on. Do y'all know that Venezuela originally means Little Venice? They gave it the name Little Venice. Like, break down that word Venice. Ven ice. Ven ice. Oh. Little Ven ice? So big Ven ice over here, right? And then little Vin Ice? Are they trying to tell us something? Because again, the process of brumation.
Extreme cold, alligators enter brumation. They freeze in place with their heads above the ice so they can breathe. Watch this. Blink. They're alive.
See, I truly believe that this is the same thing that's going on over here, that they're using high-level technology to freeze this in place. Because why would you name Venezuela, right? Little Venice, Little Vin Ice. When you got all this ice over here, and then reptilian heads around this. This is crazy, y'all. But let me know what you guys think about this video. The ship is here. Let's get it.
Imagine going in for a facial and later finding out you're diagnosed with HIV. At least 3 women have been infected with HIV after getting this cosmetic procedure called vampire facial in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And if you don't know what a vampire facial is, it's the procedure where they take a sample of your blood from your body, then separate the plasma and the red blood cells, and then they inject the plasma back into your face with microneedling. And there's a number of reasons why people get this done, a major one being to brighten the skin, improve fine lines, wrinkles, acne, and overall rejuvenate the skin. But after these women were diagnosed, an investigation was conducted, and it turns out that this spa was unlicensed. They also found unlabeled tubes of blood lying on the kitchen counter and syringes stored in the fridge along with food. It's also been said that this spa was reusing disposable equipment, which is most likely how these people were infected. This clinic had hundreds of clients, and it's possible that more people were infected, but they just don't know it yet. The clinic was closed down, and the owner was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Can we just talk about Gypsy Rose on Keeping Up with the Kardashians? So in a past interview, Gypsy Rose stated that she really wanted to meet Kim to talk about prison reform. And again, in case you guys all forgot, Gypsy went to prison for about 8 years for the murder of her mother. And since Kim has experience in prison reform, Gypsy wanted to get together with her so that they can talk about how to make the prison system a lot better.
Okay.
But is it just me, or is this getting a little weird? I know that there's people that truly support Gypsy, and then there's people who still think that she should be in prison. But at the end of the day, she did murder someone, and I just find it odd that she is essentially famous because of it. And of course, Gypsy did her time, but I've yet to see anyone else be released from prison after doing what she did and become famous. I know we talk a lot about Gypsy Rose on my page, and I do sympathize with her and everything that she went through as a child. But since her release, she hasn't really been low-key about anything, and I get it, a lot of people are very interested about her story and what happened to her. I was too, but now it's at the point where she has 2 TV shows about her life. She goes to these red carpets, and now she's on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I find it very, very interesting, and I just really want to know the point of this collab. Some people think that Keeping Up with the Kardashians has not been doing the greatest, so they brought Gypsy in just to get more viewers. What do you guys think?
I ain't gonna lie, I believe what she said about bringing her in to get more views, because I guess, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, everybody used to watch that show, but now, it's like, it's on streaming now, stuff like that. The game has changed. But what she said about Gypsy, well, that is kind of like, she's hitting the nail on the head, because, like, once she got out, she damn near, like she said, she's famous, even though, like, we know what she did. But for her to get that type of fame of attention, it really makes you question things in the world.
People who gained real-life superpowers after an accident.
No.
Jason Padgett was a party animal who hated school and got terrible grades. But one day, 2 men savagely robbed and attacked Jason outside of a karaoke bar, leaving him with a severe concussion. The concussion caused him to become a mathematical genius and made him learn fractal geometry, which he had never been taught before. When Derek Amato was 39 years old, he hit his head after diving into a swimming pool and was diagnosed with a concussion and 35% hearing loss. After that, Derek began to see black and white keys in his head, and out of nowhere, he began to play the piano like an expert. Ben McMahon was in a car accident in 2015 and fell into a coma for a week. When he woke up, he could speak perfect Chinese, even though he had only learned the basics as a child. Tony Cesarea was struck by lightning after making a call in a phone booth. Within a couple of days, he was addicted to music, which he wasn't before. After trying the piano, he became a musical artist, composing his own music.
Superpowers exist in this world? What the hell, Seekers, man? This is our first time hearing these cases. You think cases like this make like national news or something like that? But the one that kept hitting the head over the nails, when somebody got a concussion, they just like unlocked a certain part of their brain, and they was able to do certain things they weren't able to do before. We're gonna have to look into that, bro. Insane.
Have you ever wondered what happened on this exact date 300 years ago? Well, this is what happened in history today, part 1. Up first, on July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon. It was carrying Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, who would become the first humans to walk on the moon. Next up, on July 20th, 1793, Scottish explorer Alexander Mackenzie completed the first European east-to-west crossing of America north of Mexico. It's crazy to me that on this exact day a couple hundred years ago, people were exploring the land that we call home. Next up, on July 20th, 1881, Sioux Indian chief Sitting Bull surrendered to the U.S. federal troops. Sitting Bull was an Indian tribe leader who led his people during years of resistance against United States government policies. He surrendered in exchange for amnesty for his people. Finally, on July 20th, 1917, the World War I draft was held. Secretary Baker, who was blindfolded, drew the first number from a bull, followed by many other numbers over the course of 16 and a half hours, and every number was a different man. And believe it or not, but on that day, 1.3 million men were called up for the draft. This literally happened on this exact day a little over 100 years ago.
This is actually how World War III starts. I'ma be pissed. South Korea's just held an emergency meeting with their top officials to discuss on how to respond after North Korea flew almost 1,000 balloons carrying bags full of trash and human waste across the border. South Korea's national security director said that they've decided to take unbearable measures against North Korea. And while they didn't specify exactly what those unbearable measures were, some sources say that they will resume their frontline loudspeaker broadcast into North Korea. That includes criticism of their human rights situation, world news, and K-pop songs. Welcome to 2024.
One of the world's scariest animals just got a whole lot scarier. And Planet of the Apes is slowly becoming non-fiction. Because apparently chimpanzees are out here murking gorillas. Scientists in 2021 witnessed a troop of chimpanzees basically jumping a family of gorillas. And when I say gang, we're talking about almost 30 chimps pressing a family of 5. Keep in mind a silverback can weigh up to 400 pounds, could probably bench press your car. And according to witnesses, the silverback was eating chimps left and right like they were paper mache. But eventually the chimps overwhelmed the bigger silverback and even kidnapped a baby gorilla. I'm not going to tell you exactly what they did, but that family of 5 became a party of 4. And it wasn't even the last time. Because later that year, scientists watched the same group of chimpanzees do the same exact thing. Square up with a family of gorillas, kidnapped a baby, and erase its name from the gorilla's census. And it's not like we didn't know chimps were about that. They often hunt bush babies and vervet monkeys, and we've even seen them use weapons like spears to do it. But it's one thing to hunt something that weighs like 5 Skittles. Going gorillas is another tier of Black Air Force activity. Which is why I'd rather be locked in a room with a jaguar than a chimp. Because at least a jaguar gonna make it quick.
People who gained real-life superpowers after an accident. In 1971, Edwin Robinson was in a severe car crash that made him completely blind and partially deaf. 9 years later, he ventured outside his home to rescue his pet chicken from the rain when he was suddenly struck by lightning. But due to the high voltage blast from the lightning strike, he miraculously could see and hear perfectly fine again. During Adam Rayner's early life, he suffered from dwarfism, and at his tallest, he came in at 4.5 feet. But at the age of 21, he developed a tumor on his pituitary gland, which led him to grow to a staggering 7 feet 8 inches within a few years. This made him the only human to ever be classified as both a dwarf and a giant in the same lifetime. Tony Curtis got into a car accident that was so severe he fell into a coma for several days. Thankfully, he came out of it, and when he woke up, he could magically speak perfect French, even though he had only taken a few French lessons 12 years before the accident. This is breaking news from around the world that you definitely have not heard of. Number 3, the IDF says a barrage of 200 rockets have been fired towards Israel from the Gaza Strip, most of which has been intercepted by the Iron Dome. The Israeli military conducted a retaliation strike of roughly 130 targets. Number 2, out-of-control Chinese rocket debris crash lands into the Indian Ocean just west of the Maldives, most of which was destroyed upon re-entry into the lower atmosphere. Number 1, a major pipeline was hacked and shut down by a group called DarkSide, the FBI confirms. They demand ransom, and this stands as a wake-up call for other US companies about major cyber threats into the future.
What the hell? He got us from talking about a major park act. That's something they must have tried to hit because I didn't see that trending nowhere. It's crazy to think about, man. This type of information we're not even aware of, man. That's what I said. You gotta tap in with us, man. You're gonna learn something. That's crazy.
Scary facts you didn't know. There are at least 10 recorded cases of someone dying from laughter.
Come again?
At some point in time, a stranger has thought of killing you. Selfies are responsible for more deaths every year than sharks.
No.
There's a shack called the Devil's Toy Box in Louisiana, and people who go in there supposedly lose their minds. When a person dies, they have 7 minutes of brain activity left in which they see a dreamlike sequence of their memories.
Oh.
Most serial killers are born in November.
Psychological tricks that will change your life. Part 7. If you whisper to somebody, they will whisper back, even if there's no reason to do so. Yo, Dad.
I thought that the French protests were unhinged before, but this might be the single most hilarious way of protesting I have ever seen. As we all know, Paris is hosting the Summer Olympics, but a lot of French people aren't very happy about that. Because, and I only found out about this today, the Olympics is kind of a scam when it comes to a country actually making money. Don't get me wrong, it's great for global street cred, but, for example, when China hosted it, they made a net loss of 36.4 billion, and London made a net loss of 13 billion, and that's all taxpayer money. So when the public heard that France has already spent over 5 billion, and then the Macron wanted to spend another billion just to clean up the said river, so it looks good for the Olympics. They lost it, and the I shit in the said river protest began. On the 23rd of June, the French President Macron and the Paris mayor plan to take a ceremonial swim in the river to show off just how clean it is. So the protesters are now planning a defecation flash mob because, and I quote, after putting us in shit, it's up to them to bathe in our shit. Oh, and if you don't live in Paris, no bloody problem, because someone created this website. You type in how many kilometers you are away from Paris, and using a water flow algorithm, it will tell you precisely the day and the exact time you need to fit into the river to reach Paris at the time Macron will be swimming in it. Oh, I told you, and that is why I say here are some Google secrets that you didn't know about.
If you type in Google space and click the first result, all of Google will start floating in space, and you can type and mess with all the buttons by throwing them around. If you type in Pac-Man, you can play a Google version of Pac-Man along with other games such as Tic-Tac-Toe, Fun Facts, Minesweeper, Snake, Solitaire, and much more for free. If you type in Thanos and click the Infinity Gauntlet, you will not only make some of the search results disappear, but half of Google will also be snapped out of existence. And if you click it again, everything will be reversed. I want to talk about the O'Fallon footage. On the eastern side of Missouri, a tape was recovered from a camera recorder of a missing man in 2002. This photo found in the footage has marked the most chilling mystery to have ever come out of this county. The man is pictured here. His name was Roy Hafer, and he was sort of an amateur investigator. You know, he would go to scenes with recent crimes, places where he could film, and he could sell the footage hopefully to a news station. And on an evening where he ventured to a hot spot where a woman had gone missing just a year prior, he would never make it home from that abandoned house. A police search was conducted by the following morning, as well as a search of the abandoned home and a search of this underpass where a significant amount of blood was recovered, but his body was not. They would also go on to find his camera recorder where they would find that final footage. This was the face seen in the last frame of that video footage. You think you're old? Again, this is the oldest person that ever lived. Her name is Jeanne-Louise Calment of France. She was born in 1875 and passed away in 1997 at the age of 122 years old. She outlived both her daughter and her grandson. Her husband died in 1942.
Whoa. She lived to be that old? Goes to show you, man. You never know. It's actually crazy. Calculation, why did I do that?
These are the top 3 dreams you should never ignore according to science. Number 1 is dreaming that you're drowning. It's like super common. And it's most commonly felt that this sort of mirrors how you feel overwhelmed in your day-to-day life. But the reason you shouldn't ignore this dream is that it's usually a telltale sign you might have sleep apnea. 2, dreaming that you are being chased. This is believed to be unresolved childhood trauma. It's kind of like you're manifesting that trauma into a physical person who's chasing you in your dream. By the way, I am using the Dream app to define all of these. literally the most comprehensive and expert-driven app to analyze your dreams. And the third dream you should never ignore: cutting your hair. It's believed that this is your subconscious being aware that you are about to experience a great loss in your life. It's kind of like your mind is warning you to protect yourself from the instability that's to come. And if you want to find out what your dreams mean to you, you can check the link in my bio and try Dream App.
See, are you guys gonna try out that Dream App, man? Like I said, the dreams that we dream. Hey, you said we can't ignore them, bro. I think that happened. I wonder if I had any dreams like that. I don't think so. Not that I could recall. But hey, man, and like I said, everything we see is a message, man. I guess when we dreaming, it's our brains trying to tell us a message to ourselves. So if you really think about it, man, we're trying to warn ourselves. It's like we have a warning detection system. If you break it down like that. Okay.
This is the scary story about the mom. One night, there was a 6-year-old girl who woke up in the middle of the night to her mom standing over her bed, staring down at her with a creepy smile on her face. The girl knew something was wrong, but she couldn't put her finger on it. The girl then said, "Mom." "Yes," she replied. "What are you doing?" the girl asked. "Watching you sleep," she said. "Why?" said the girl. The mom didn't say anything and kept staring at her, smiling. They each didn't say a word to each other for minutes, but still keeping eye contact with each other. Then the mom began to walk backwards, still staring at the girl with that creepy smile, and then went into the girl's closet and shut the door. The girl then got up and ran to her mom's bedroom and saw her mom asleep in her bed.
What's going on with that mom story?
Facts that will shock you. Part 1. Happy Birthday to You is the most often sung song in America. Sharks are the only fish that can blink with both eyes. Squirrels can climb trees faster than they can run on the ground.
Oh!
Celebrities who fake their death.
Who's on this list?
Michael Jackson.
That was MJ? The way they was just walking across the street, but he put his bags up like really close, so we couldn't really get look at his face. If anything, I thought it would be like Tupac Shakur, because you know how people be saying he would just went to a different part of the world. But MJ, Michael Jackson, we believe that? That's kind of a hard one to
Have you ever seen a rash that looks like this? It's these little tiny bumps that look like fluid-filled blisters on your hands or feet, and they're intensely itchy. You may have something called dyshydrotic eczema or pomphalix. This rash usually starts in early adulthood, and it often comes in intervals of about every 3 to 4 weeks in response to emotional or physical stress, but the underlying mechanism is poorly understood.
Man.
Some general skincare measures include washing your hands without any jewelry on, using a fragrance-free gentle cleanser to clean your hands, pat dry thoroughly, and then place a heavy cream or ointment on afterwards to help retain some of the moisture, and moisturizing throughout the day. You may also consider wearing a cotton gloves with non-latex gloves over that if you are doing a lot of wet work. If you are struggling with this, it is a good idea to see your physician because they may be able to prescribe you different therapies. Some examples may include high-potency topical steroids, calcineurin inhibitors, JAK inhibitors, and biologics. Let me know if this is something that affects you, and please hit that follow button if you want to learn more about your health.
Well, apparently the adult film star Jessie Jane was found deceased with her boyfriend. Let's find out all about this one, y'all. Shout out to True Crime with Megan. Make sure you give her a follow.
Jessie Jane, an actor of adult films and other movies, has been found deceased. She was 43 years old and her real name was Cindy Taylor. She and her boyfriend Brett Hassenmuller were found deceased in their home in Moore, Oklahoma. According to reports, the Moore Police Department were called to their home on Wednesday to conduct a wellness check. This was after nobody had heard from them for several days, and police were called at about 11 a.m. It was said that Brett's employer reportedly asked for the welfare check after he did not show up for work for several days. She and Brett were found deceased upon police arriving at the home. A medical examiner will officially determine the cause of death. Jessie was a model for David's Bridal for a while before she was in a Hooters commercial. She then eventually signed a contract with Digital Playground. She made her adult film debut in 2003, and then she started to appear in some outside projects. She was in Baywatch Hawaiian Wedding and Starsky and Hutch. In 2005, she also appeared in season 2 of Entourage. Furthermore, she made appearances in Bad Girls Club and Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, which are both reality TV shows. She retired from the adult film industry in 2017 because she claimed the industry started to change too much and they didn't pay as much money. She was remembered as a vivacious person who loved life, and Brett was remembered as a good guy with an amazing soul. They had been dating for quite some time. She was married to Rich Taylor from 2005 to 2012, and she leaves.
Has a cell phone that can see into alternate dimensions.
This phone shows an alternate dimension. Now,
It's
we all should
insane.
remember Tom Cruise's legendary dance scene
Yeah.
in Risky Business, right? But let me ask you, is he wearing sunglasses in this scene?
Yeah. Where are the glasses?
Did
That's
you
a
get it
Mandela
right?
effect.
Clearly no sunglasses, but then why does every pop culture parody of this scene show them wearing sunglasses? Well, let's try using the cell phone on this scene.
Okay.
There's the phone. There's the glasses.
Yep.
There are the glasses.
Looks like sunglasses to me.
So he was wearing them during the
Now, there's
scene.
also those who remember the old classic Mickey Mouse with suspenders, and those who remember him without suspenders. Let's see what the phone says.
He has suspenders.
And
He always has
the Shaggy
suspenders.
from Scooby-Doo had an Adam's apple. The phone shows an Adam's apple,
Oh,
but our current reality says no. Okay, this is too fun. Just one more. So clearly here we see that Curious George from the Curious George books has a tail. But if you look at what the phone's recording, there's no tail there.
At this point, I really think whoever's in charge are putting Mandela effects in our timeline to mess with us. For whatever reason, they are messing with us. I have no idea why. If you do, let me know. Stay weird.
Going on around
Okay.
the world right now. There were polar bears that were found living together in an abandoned weather station near the Arctic in Russia. A man dropped his uncle off recently at the Dubai airport, but the traffic home was so bad that his uncle got home to Pakistan before he got to his home in Dubai. And in China, it's apparently common to pay people to take you out of a traffic jam. They'll come pick you up on a motorbike, and then someone else will drive your car home. Grolmud, Palau is the least populated capital city in the world with a population of 0. I never knew that German citizens, when they turn 100 years old, will always receive a letter from their president. Auckland is now the host of the longest direct flight in the world from China to Argentina. Yes, if you didn't catch that, Auckland, New Zealand, because apparently the plane stops there for 2 hours. But the entire trip takes almost 30 hours without getting off a plane. Peanut allergies are widespread here in the US, but not in Asia. The number of warships in the Chinese Navy has surpassed the United States.
You wake up inside a coffin. Did you repeatedly hit the lid to eventually break out? Well, you would only have about an inch of space. So plant your feet at the bottom, bend your elbows slightly, and keep your wrist straight. Then snap your fist forward while squeezing your knees and pushing your hips forward, using your whole body in one motion. Now, it would take hours of hits just to crack the wood. And even if you somehow managed to make a hole, the heavy dirt above would pour in, meaning it would fill the space in seconds, leaving you no room to dig out of the coffin.
So how did Kill Bill, how did she get up, bro? You guys know that was a Kill Bill reference, right, man? Classic movie, bro. 1 inch punch to get out of, to dig her way out of the, grave. Man, movie logic, bro.
The Lake Peigneur incident in Louisiana. Lake Peigneur. Underneath this lake was a vast amount of salt mining underneath this lake. It just so happened this lake was also on an oil reserve. So in 1980, while Texaco was drilling in this lake, they accidentally pierced into the salt mine. Oh no! Drilled straight into it. There's 55 salt mine workers down the salt mine. All of a sudden they just started hearing like, and then all of a sudden it's like you see this like, uh-oh, and then all of a sudden it's like, the water started just gushing in. Luckily, all 55 salt miners were able to get out, but this thing filled up within minutes. The guys that were running the barge up top, they heard this clanking sound, like, what in the world? And they kept on drilling, and all of a sudden, just this whirlpool started forming in the middle of the lake, and then all of a sudden it started getting faster and faster. They all escaped, but it ended up sucking in the entire barge. No one died in this incident. It created the largest waterfall in Louisiana. It was literally a 200-foot waterfall in the middle of this lake, sucking in the entire lake. And there was a canal leading from the lake to the Gulf of Mexico. It was such pressure that it went in, and when it hit, it blew back up like a geyser. And when it did that, the canal reversed, where the Gulf of Mexico sucked salt water into the lake. And so now, this lake is a saltwater lake, and it's up to 1,300 feet deep.
Something that will forever haunt me is the Miami Mall incident and how they have successfully swept it under the rug. The fact that we know nothing about it, and it's been said that people's phones were taken and all those different things. Like, how come we did not get any type of update over this? You have never seen a police presence this big unless it got something to do with the president or something like that. The fact that one of the first stories that came out was that there were giant aliens or non-humans walking around the mall. Another story came out that there was a portal that was open, and then things started coming through the portal. And mind you, this was during the time that CERN had turned on the Hadron Collider. Like, dude, the fact that they literally successfully swept this under the rug and no one is asking questions anymore about this Miami Mall incident really bothers me, because then it makes me think, what else have they swept under the rug? What else did they just move on past and we just forgot about? So many things. I feel like we need to get down to the bottom of what happened at the Miami Mall. We're literally coming up on 2 years, right? In January, we'll make 2 years since that happened, and we have gotten nothing on what actually took place at the Miami Mall to cause a presence this large. I know we started seeing like AI videos, at least what I think is AI videos of like these big, y'all see these big things walking, but I think that's AI. Like, what actually happened? Like, genuinely, what happened at the Miami Mall in 2024?
This could have...
Dang, I didn't realize it was coming up 2 years after the Miami Mall incident, man. I still remember when I was chilling on X, bro, or Twitter. Everybody was talking about it, and it seems like slowly the public, they just put it off, man. But people were saying there was like aliens there, bro. Like you said, that big of a police presence. They weren't there for nothing, bro. And they called it off saying it was a hoax or something like that. But, bro, the way people were tweeting about it, man, all those police presence, bro. And I remember seeing like clips of like 12 people, but I didn't hear he said it was like things are coming out of portals. That's new. Seeker, you guys got anything about the Miami Mall incident? Let me know.
Ended so tragically, but it didn't because the father's massive freaking... So yesterday, during a Disney cruise returning from the Bahamas to Florida, a 5-year-old girl fell overboard from the 5th floor after she was put on top of the railings for a family picture. And according to those at the scene, the father didn't hesitate for a single second to jump in after her, risking his own life as well. Once he got to her, he held her head above water while desperately waiting for rescue teams to be alerted and save them. And passengers watched in horror as the father and the daughter drifted further and further away. Thankfully, however, an emergency team managed to get to them in time and returned the pair safely on board. But here's why people are saying that this is such a miracle, because falling off of a cruise ship often ends in death. And if their dad jumped into the water just a few moments later, the girl would have most likely been lost. Damn, bro better be getting the best Father's Day gift ever.
This right here is the type of flight I'm not staying on. Because imagine you're on a plane and it's about to take off, and all of a sudden the guy just get up and start shaking and then talking crazy, talking about this is the 6th time. We always crash, we always die, and we're stuck in a loop. What are you gonna do? At this point, flight is canceled. Let me off this, y'all. I'm getting my bags. I'm about to go get a motherfucking rental and I'm driving to where I gotta go. Unless it's overseas, then fuck that shit. I don't care. If I'm in first class, I'm still not doing it. I don't care. And the crazy thing about this video is the man that was yelling, he wasn't trying to get attention. he really sounded like someone who was tired of going through the same loop, over dying again, and again. We all seen Final Destination. That's what that remind me of, fool. You can really hear the fear in that man's voice. That's why I know this man is not going crazy, fool. He must really went through the same loop. So let me ask y'all a question. If you was on that flight and you heard someone say that, are you going to stay in your seat? Or are you getting up and you're exiting the plane? Because I already told y'all what I'm doing.
Okay, this has to be a sign. We can't believe anything anymore. Astronomers revealed that 3i Atlas appears to have reverse thrust right before it disappeared behind the sun. You know, the interstellar visitor passing through our solar system that's totally just a regular comet. It's reversing thrust, like appearing to slow down as if it's about to land. Now stop right there, debunkers, because scientists are giving a natural scientific explanation to this reversal. But something about this just feels so orchestrated, like someone or a group of people are behind this all with an ulterior motive, like an actual psychological operation. And every update that comes out about this all but confirms just that. So scientists say that as a comet gets closer to the sun, what they call a tail flip is actually quite common based on the angle we're viewing it from, which makes it look like the tailing trail behind a comet flipped from our perspective here on Earth, and hence reverse thrust as it makes its way around the sun, and typically happens at perihelion, which is an object's closest approach to the sun. Now coincidentally, researchers state that perihelion is also when an artificial spacecraft would apply reverse thrust to slingshot itself via gravitational assist, applying the brakes to slow down, using the sun's gravity to change direction or even speed up, creating the anti-tail we are now seeing. And this is exactly why this object is so controversial. Everything about this whole sky event is just pure debate bait. The scientists are going to insist it's a totally natural comet tail flip, and the tinfoil hatters are going to tell you it's an alien spaceship getting ready to visit us. Now even Avi Loeb, the main professor behind this whole 3i Atlas claim, stated, if 3i Atlas is a massive mothership, it will likely continue along its original gravitational path and ultimately exit our solar system, essentially making this a bit of a recon mission rather than a full-blown invasion, but also kind of giving him an easy out while standing by his claim if nothing actually happens. He also says NASA has photo evidence that it is an alien probe, that they are purposely gatekeeping and refusing to release to the public, who have been bizarrely silent about 3i Atlas conveniently as soon as it started getting close to us. Maybe the Anunnaki just wanted to check up on us to see what we've been up to since they last came around. It's been a couple thousand years after all. But whatever this thing is, I can't help but feel all the news around it has been intentionally designed to rage bait everyone into arguing about it. Every observation made about it seems to have an equal natural and alien explanation to it, so have at it and don't take things too seriously. Unless there's a massive mothership in our sky being broadcasted around the world, then we can start to get a little serious about it.
First, there was 2 mass shootings where multiple people lost their life. Then they just announced that Rob Reiner and his wife was found in his Brentwood home in Los Angeles dead. Mind you, when they first released this information, they said it was a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman that was shot. Now TMZ is saying that allegedly they were found with stab wounds. But here's the part that hits hardest. Rob is a famous director, a public figure that was living in a very secure part of LA, in a murder investigation with little info released so far. So they're saying that firefighters were called to the mansion in Brentwood, Los Angeles for a medical aid call. And when they walked in, they found 2 dead bodies. A man, Robert Reiner, and his wife. But here's the biggest question. Why were the firefighters called? And why were they called for a medical call instead of just being called for a homicide call? Then you gotta ask, why did the police immediately bring in the robbery division? And then you gotta ask, who made the 911 call and why? At this point, they're not saying much, but it's a lot of things that need to be questioned.
This is one of the rarest events in nature a human can lay their eyes on. An atmospheric phenomenon known as a sun candle or light pillar forming at full intensity. The column forms when sunlight reflects off of flat ice crystals suspended in calm, freezing air, stacking the light into a heavenly beam stretching to the ground. Conditions have to be absolutely perfect, and most sun candles are often faint or brief. This one is unusually bright, tall, and sharply defined, making it a once-in-a-lifetime sight for skiers and snowboarders. This video shows one of the rarest congenital conditions ever documented in dogs, short spine syndrome. The disorder occurs when the spine fails to fully develop before birth, causing the body to appear unusually compressed while the legs remain close to normal length. Affected dogs often have little to no visible neck and a shortened, rigid back, though many can still walk and function completely normally. Fewer than a handful of confirmed cases have been documented worldwide, making it so rare that most veterinarians will never encounter one in their entire careers.
Wow, that looks like the
whole documentary of Jake Paul, him being like hypnotized to Woo!
The best way to describe the feeling is just like a new iOS update.
Jake Paul pays this guy $1 million a year. To what? To put him through hypnotism throughout the year. Oh. Like every month he'll come over and he says, unlocks his brain so that he believes and he can manifest himself into becoming a champion.
That's fire, I'm not gonna lie. And this is why I charge $1 million a session, $10 million a year.
Marcel can always help me unlock different parts of my brain, and almost like opening the highways of thought and possibility.
I thought, like, plot twist, it was gonna be like, since Jake Paul has a really big ego, I thought he would like hypnotize him to take it away. Down. But it's the opposite. It's like, yo, you really want to be this big guy? Increase the ego, like, yeah.
Press enter, press save, log out. Eyes up, wide awake!
Thrilling.
$1 million in a year to hypnotize yourself, bro. You gotta know how much money you have to have, man. Just lying around, just say, hey, I need a hypnotist, bro. On your own personal hypnotist, man. To pay him $1 billion a year to put him in a trance, to make him the best, bro. And whatever he's trying to do, obviously boxing. Have you guys ever got hypnotized before? I personally can say I never got hypnotized before, bro. So I don't know how that process works, man, but seems like it's working for him, bro.
To start an exciting fire, they feel they'll die either way, so they prefer to light it and see what happens. And even Elon Musk said, if it all goes off the rails, I decided in that worst case scenario, I'd prefer to be there when it happens. Which is just, it's just justifying racing to our collective.
For the last 10 years, he was this slightly hard to believe voice on the subject of AI. He was talking about it being a huge risk and an extinction.
He was the first
AI
risk people. Yeah, he was saying.
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years.
This is more dangerous than nukes. He was saying, I try to get people to stop doing it. This is summoning the demon. Those are his words, not mine. Supposedly, he used his first and only meeting with President Obama, I think in 2016, to advocate for global regulation and global controls on AI because he was very worried about it. And then really what happened is ChatGPT came out, and as you said, that was the starting gun. And now everybody was in an all-out race to get there first.
Crazy. That is scary, bro. Earth just opens up and it just swallows you. That drain gone, bro. Why would you build a parking lot over a well? That's just stupid. I can't believe they got the car out.
The downfall of Iron Mouse needs to be studied. The way Iron Mouse described what happened between her, Rakai, and Ray, she made it seem like these guys came up to her and asked her the most insanest question ever. Iron Mouse even said, they rushed me and I was shaking. And this is where it gets even more worser, because you saw the interaction. Ray and Rakai, who are usually the two most rowdiest people on the planet, when they approached the iPad that Iron Mouse was on, and yes, Iron Mouse is on an iPad because she is a VTuber. Trust me, I wish I didn't know what a VTuber was either. But when these two approached Iron Mouse, they were literally the two most nicest people ever. They literally said that she is the most legendariest VTuber of all time. And I get it, Iron Mouse has a health condition where she has to be a VTuber, so Iron Mouse can't be there in person, and that's why she's there on an iPad. So there could have been something lost in communication between the two. And now this is where it gets even more sadder, because Iron Mouse going on stream the next day, saying that she was harassed and they made her feel uncomfortable. Ray and Rakai, they made an apology video when there was literally nothing to apologize about. Are you Team Iron Mouse or Team Ray and Rakai?
What do you guys, man? Team Iron Mouse or Ray Rakai? I remember when I just saw that clip, the way she said they was asking her questions, and then when I saw the full clip, they said they was just like asking her what did she look like or something like that. I think that's why she said she was kind of uncomfortable, but obviously, man, people weighed in with their opinions on it, bro. So it took on a life of its own, man. I didn't even know. I'm about to say at first I didn't. I'm about to say I didn't know what a VTuber was too until I saw that clip. So she wasn't even there in person. She said she was uncomfortable. People was like, bro, she could have just turned off her screen. So bad. Streaming world is crazy, bro.
Y'all, when I tell you the western side of the world is going through it right now, man, something is happening underground. They're having tons of earthquakes, cyclones, monsoons, floods, mudslides. Look, y'all, check out this mudslide. This is the most craziest mudslide I have ever seen, y'all. Look at this. Sumatra Island in Indonesia is going through it, y'all. Throughout this whole thing over here, y'all. And when I mean Indonesia, it's different parts of Indonesia as well. It's not targeted one specific area. The whole Indonesia is going through it, y'all. Look at this. Oh my God. Cars completely submerged. Is that a cow? That's a cow. Cars, homes completely submerged. People are literally missing. Thousands of people are missing. People are stuck on roofs. What is this? What is that? Is that a chicken floating? Y'all, the animals gotta save themselves. Y'all, this has been happening day and night. Day and night. Look at this, y'all. We are literally in the days of Noah. Y'all, who else is building their ark? This is crazy. Look at this. Oh my God. The water was so high and so violent that people had to climb trees, power lines, and even to get on top of homes in order to survive. Look at this guy. This guy nearly drowns. He almost gets pushed out by the water. If the people wasn't out there giving him a rope, he would have never made it. Oh shit, that shit broke. Look at this. Look at this. He has to climb this thing. This concrete block. Oh my God, y'all, this is crazy. The shift is here. He's got to climb and they got to throw him a rope in order to get on top of the roof.
He's going to jump in again?
Yo, I don't know what happened to his sweatshirt, but okay. I mean, hey, man, buddy, he's going to make it one way or another. But look at this. That water is powerful, y'all. Y'all, just take a look at the damage that was done. Y'all thought Jamaica was bad? Y'all thought North Carolina was bad, y'all? And they have been going through this for months. Monsoon on top of monsoon, mudslide, floods. Oh my God, heavy rain, heavy wind. Look at these homes. And some of them are blue. The ones that are blue are kind of standing, I guess, huh? They're kind of standing. But look at this, y'all. The shift is really here, man. There's so much going on. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about this video. Like, follow, and share for more videos like this. Let's continue to get it, y'all. Peace in.
This man lost his life after his pet hippo turned on him. Marius Els adopted 5-month-old baby Humphrey and took him to live in his 400-acre farm in South Africa. When Humphrey was a baby, everything was fine, but a lot of people warned Marius how dangerous Humphrey can become when he gets bigger. Marius ignored everyone and treated Humphrey like a pet. He would even ride on his back for fun and showed zero fear of this hippo. But it wasn't long until Humphrey got bigger and he eventually reached 1.2 tons and attacked Marius's nephew and almost killed him. But that's not all. In 2011, Humphrey attacked Marius in front of his family and took his life. This all happened when Marius called Humphrey to eat, and according to Marius's family, Humphrey's demeanor was different on this day, basically showing signs of aggression. Marius believed that his pet hippo would never betray him, so he ignored all these signs. When he continued to call Humphrey out of the water to eat, Humphrey suddenly stormed out and attacked Marius, biting into his body multiple times and then dragging him into the water. And this all happened in front of his family, the same people that warned Marius about Humphrey. What's crazy is that even though hippos look super sweet and cute compared to other wild animals, they actually kill more people each year than any other mammal on this planet. Just something to keep in mind.
They wild animals, man.
Greater Buenos Aires mysteriously turned red, sparking fears among locals of a toxic spill, according to local reports. Local media say that authorities have collected water samples to investigate the discoloration of the river, which flows into the Rio de la Plata and is near an ecological reserve, according to Reuters. Initial findings from government agencies suggest that the substance may not be toxic, according to Reuters.
Morbid facts.
It's not toxic, so what's there? So why is the water red? Maybe it's a sign. It was coming, like, you know, back in the old days, but there's something going on, man. That's in Rio too. I'm definitely going to have to freaking check up on that, man. My sense is going off on that one.
Part 509. In 2016, Texas father Daniel Shaver was held up by police after he was seen pointing a pellet gun out of his hotel window. Several officers had rifles pointed at Schaefer in the hallway as he attempted to comply with them, but their commands were confusing and contradictory, especially since Shaver was drunk. For example, they told Shaver not to put his hands down for any reason before telling him to start crawling towards them. As Shaver was crawling and begging for his life, he reached back to pull his pants up and was killed instantly by Officer Philip Brailsford, who later claimed he thought Shaver was reaching for a weapon. Brailsford was charged with second-degree murder and found not guilty, since the full unedited footage wasn't released until hours after his acquittal. Brailsford was rehired by the department and reimbursed for all the medical expenses he paid, while seeking treatment for the PTSD he claimed he acquired from the shooting. Because of this, Brailsford was medically retired and now collects a $2,500 pension every month.
Man, that's a chilling story. And that's how, man, me personally, I ain't playing with no freaking BB guns and stuff like that, because people can misinterpret it and a real situation could happen. So I don't play with that stuff. It ain't worth it. You saw firsthand. Trust me, man. You know what this is.
This is what they meant when they said, "Don't talk to strangers." In the early 1900s, a 10-year-old boy was playing in the woods when a tall man appeared and asked if he wanted to come back to his cabin for dinner. Totally caught off guard, the boy reluctantly agrees and begins walking. When they get to the cabin, the boy is relieved when he sees Paul, a family friend, sitting on the porch, so the boy happily goes inside. After they eat, the boy says thank you to the strange tall man, says bye to Paul, and then he leaves. He had only walked a few steps when he sees his family, along with Paul, running up the path towards him, frantically asking if he was okay. Confused, the boy says, "I'm just fine," and he looks at Paul and he's like, "Why didn't you tell them I was with you at the cabin?" And he points over his shoulder. Paul glances over the boy's shoulder and then narrows his eyes and says, "You were kidnapped by a cult 3 days ago. No one's seen you." Terrified, the boy turns around to look at the cabin he just came from, and it's gone. All he sees is a dark forest that stretches for miles.
What the hell?
Scary games you should never play. This is the cat scratch game. The game requires 2 players. Player 1, lie your back on the floor with your head resting on player 2's lap. Player 2 will recite one of these 2 stories while rubbing player 1's temples.
I never play any of these scary games that get suggested.
When player 2 has finished the story, stand up and pull up player 1's shirt. Their back should be covered in red claw marks. Many swear that whatever scratched them was something much more sinister than just a cat.
This is why it's always a bad idea to go to graveyards at night. Urban explorer Frank from Franco TV explored a graveyard in Peru. As he explores the area, he sees a group of people far in the corner. Not knowing what's going on and worried for his safety, he hides in a tomb waiting for them to leave. 30 minutes gone by, they turn off the lights and begin to leave. Scared someone may still be there, Frank waits 30 more minutes. As he makes his way to the tomb, what he finds is disturbing. Frank finds a circle of candles and what looks like a voodoo doll next to a star. He also finds a container with unknown contents. As Frank tries to communicate with the spirits in that area, he hears laughing coming from one of the graves. Worried for his safety, he decides to leave and says he doesn't want any problems or to be followed by anything there. As Frank makes his way out, he sees something horrifying. What looks like a person can be seen peeking at Frank from the corner of the tomb. But when he checks around the tomb, there's no one there.
Somebody was definitely still
Friendly
there.
reminder that if you're ever in Churchill, Canada, it is illegal, if not very frowned upon, to lock your car. The reason is so that if a polar bear comes after you, hiding in someone else's car might be your only option. Not only are polar bears one of the few animals that will actively try to eat humans, since they can track prey from miles away, they'll smell you way before you see them. Remember, if it's brown, get on the ground. If it's black, fight back. Talking about bears. If it's white like an addict's nose, your casket finna be closed.
Okay, stay away from polar bears. Once again, noted. I didn't know there was a law, I guess, where it was that you had to keep your car door open because if we could attack you like that, man. I keep thinking about that meme, bro. What the hell is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
This is a test to see if you have healthy eyes. If you pass all 5 levels, your vision is perfect.
Let's do
all
it.
All you have to do is pick one out of the 10 colors that is different from the rest. Starting off easy, you can clearly see that number 7 is lighter than the rest of them. 97% of people pass this stage, but it's about to get way harder. Okay, let's move on to medium. This one is a little more difficult and will require a little more attention. The correct answer is 2. Level advanced is even harder. Only 30% of people make it past this stage, so really focus and you'll see that the correct answer is 4. Superhuman. This level is really going to test your vision, and I know these look identical, but if you look closely, number 4 is slightly different. And the final level, impossible. 92% of people failed this level, and the answer is 10. Were you right? Comment below.
Oh, man. I tried to pass that test. I think the last one, that's what really got to me, bro. But I basically passed it all up until the last one, man. Did you guys keep up?
Don't even get me started on Laura Karen. That teacher was sexually assaulting a 13-year-old boy since he was 11 years old, got pregnant with his baby, and then wasn't even arrested until the baby was 5. And as of today, she has been released from jail. If you've never heard of Laura Karen, she worked at Middle Township Elementary School. She was a 5th grade teacher, meaning that she primarily worked with 10 to 11-year-old students. And from 2016 to 2020, she was sexually abusing a boy who she had had as a student. She had also had his brother in her class. And obviously it was before this all came out, but he, his brother, and his sister, so 3 siblings, actually went to go live in her home for a period of time. And that was between 2016 and 2020, and that is when things got really bad for that boy. According to his sister, when that boy would go into the bathroom to take a shower, Laura would go into the bathroom and lock the door. Additionally, all of the siblings shared a bedroom in her house. However, in the morning when the 2 other siblings would wake up, they would notice that their brother wasn't there, and their brother was in bed with Laura. She had become friends with the parents of those siblings, and she was actually trusted to be a resource parent. In New Jersey, the term resource parent is a synonym for foster parent. But Laura took that trust and completely violated it. She violated their son, and she managed to get away with it for years until December of 2024. That is when she was arrested. I believe it was December 17th. It was found out because the child that she had was a son who looked a lot like the son who she sexually abused. And he looked a lot like the victim's father, and understandably so. And the victim confirmed to his sister that he was the father. She appeared in court today, Tuesday, January 21st of 2025. The judge has ruled that she can be released as her case continues.
A teacher gave a final exam where students had to draw and achieve a high score in the shortest possible time. While walking around the classroom, the teacher noticed one student drawing in an incredibly surprising and unconventional way. The student used a ruler and 2 pens to make their drawing perfectly identical to the reference image. What do you think about this?
This is how you can get full control over your body. If you're ever feeling really stressed or anxious, I got you. All you have to do is slowly blow on your thumb for 30 seconds like this. This will slow down your heartbeat and calm your nerves so you won't have to worry anymore. Next, if you ever wake up in the morning and your hand or arm has fallen asleep, all you have to do is shake your head and it will quickly go away. But if your leg falls asleep, all you have to do is wiggle your toes and your leg will be back to normal right away. If you're ever sick to your stomach and you want to get feeling better quickly, listen up. Squeeze down your left thumb like this to deactivate your gag reflex so you won't gag. And place your thumb right here on your wrist to get rid of your nausea. Finally, eating peanut butter before you fall asleep at night could change your life. It's scientifically proven that eating peanut butter before you fall asleep can help you fall asleep much faster. And it will also give you insanely vivid dreams. A rare and mysterious illness is currently sweeping through a city in India, leaving patients suddenly paralyzed and unable to control their body. With what began as a child struggling to hold their pencil in January, has now escalated into a full-scale medical emergency. Over 170 reported cases, dozens in intensive care, at least 5 suspected deaths, and even teams from the WHO arriving in Pune to investigate. But here's what makes this illness so terrifying. It has what's referred to as the Russian roulette effect. You see, the bacteria that can trigger the paralysis is everywhere. It's found in contaminated food and water, and most people consume it at some point in their life without even knowing. But for reasons that scientists still don't fully understand yet, only in a small percentage of cases, this bacteria can trigger Guillain-Barré syndrome, which causes the immune system to go rogue, shutting down your body piece by piece. For example, last month, a school teacher noticed that our 6-year-old son couldn't hold his pencil properly, and within days, his legs and arms stopped working. He lost the ability to swallow, speak, and eventually breathe, requiring ventilator support. At that stage, you can think of it like having sleep paralysis while being fully awake. Now, because there is no cure for GBS, early intervention is critical, and that's why authorities have now set up special hospital wards, launched mass water testing, and called in the WHO in efforts to contain the outbreak and prevent more lives being put at risk. As the situation develops, I'll keep you guys updated.
This preacher
keep me up to date.
In church. Let's watch it together.
Well, hey everybody, Pastor Aaron here. It's my pleasure just to announce that this Sunday will be open.
Oh! Oh nah.
Okay, we've been trying to do this announcement several times today already, and 3 times that podium back there has fallen over on its own, and it's stable. I mean, it's not wobbly at all.
Leave the church. I would leave.
It's kind of like
I'm hitting the jets.
Wow. That podium has been wobbling. Okay, so we checked the vent. There's a vent there that is not an air duct that has any forced air at all, so it can't be wobbling from that. There's absolutely no breeze in here. You can see by the banner there.
Call Ghostbusters.
This no air conditioning. It's these things, they're off. I don't know. So I'm just gonna sit here and watch it for a little bit, and we will see if it does it again.
Oh nah, I'm leaving.
Nothing's moving. That hasn't been moving.
I'm leaving. Is he
here?
He's still there?
Seriously, nothing else. There's no breeze. It's moving again.
It's time to go.
Oh yeah, I'm out. I'm
Have
in
you
the
ever seen a
jets.
boarding pass that's so big it could double as a billboard? Well, one man's oversized ticket has taken the internet by storm. This hilarious moment was caught on camera in an airport when a guy rolled up to the gate with what might just be the world's most dramatic boarding pass. Of course, it wasn't long before a very confused officer had to step in. While people who saw the huge boarding pass thought it was a joke, the passenger was completely serious. But as for the officer, he was trying his hardest to not crack up while keeping the situation serious. This lady just broke a Guinness World of Record by eating cotton candy. Meet Leia Shuckkeever, a speed eater extraordinaire who just devoured an insane amount of cotton candy in only 60 seconds, shattering the Guinness World Record. But the best part? When she was presented with the Grinchy treat, she had one simple question. Why is it green? David Wilson, the adjudicator, couldn't help but respond with a smile and said, "It's quite Grinchy."
That can't be lost. Why is it green? It's quite Grinchy. It is quite Grinchy.
To break the record, Leia had to demolish at least 45 grams of this sticky sweet green goo in under a minute. And did she? Of course she did, leaving her with sticky fingers and a sticky face. But Leia isn't just about cotton candy. She's also set records for inhaling 19 chicken nuggets in a minute and 10 Jolly Donuts in 3 minutes.
We now actually know what happens when we die. In some of the biggest news of the century, we've now got evidence suggesting that your life carries on after you die, and it gets a lot crazier than that. Make sure you share this video with your friends and family because you don't want to miss this. So an old woman was passing away, and as she died, they had her hooked up to a machine which was monitoring her brain. Now what scientists got from these scans after she passed away was these photos, which don't look like much right now. But what these show is that a part of the brain, specifically the part of the brain that processes memories and experiences, was still active after death for around 8 minutes. And this is crazy because years ago I made a video saying about the 8 minutes after death and how your brain is still active. They did tests before on a man who died and found similar things, but nothing as concrete as this. As I say, from these scans, it showed that the brain was still active for around 8 minutes after this woman passed away. And specifically that she was processing memories, i.e. her life, flashing before her eyes, a common term you've probably heard. So this suggests that when you pass away, your life does flash before your eyes. You get memory flashbacks and maybe relive parts of your life. It also links into the theory I've spoken about before and many people have said. Think about when you have a dream. Sometimes dreams can feel really real and time's different, time dilation of course. Sometimes you'll have a dream, it feels like an hour, but you wake up and it's been about 2 minutes. Well, the same might be happening in this 8 minutes after death. Reliving memories, what feels like days, weeks, but it's only in the 8 minutes. Or maybe even like a lucid dream, creating some sort of new reality. So what's to say you're not dead right now in that 8 minutes, and this is all just a figment of your imagination.
What are the chances of two rivers?
That brings up a good point, man, especially at the end. That's like the simulation theory. That's what I got. But life, we heard before, you know, like your life flashed before your eyes. Guess there's some truth to that. We learning today.
2,000 miles apart, mysteriously turning blood red at the same time. And we don't know the cause for either. Worried residents in both Lima, Peru and Buenos Aires, Argentina have shared footage online reporting strong odors accompanying the discoloration. One local described the scene saying, "It looks like a stream of blood. We have never seen it like this." Now, while we don't know for sure what's caused either yet, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a scene from a biblical prophecy. I'll just leave that there for a second. Rather, in Peru, environmental experts believe that it could be caused by pollutants discharged from mines and drainage pipes flowing into the river. Despite this, local water supplier, Sidapal, assured the public that the water is still safe to drink. And they better be bloody right, because this river is one of the country's most important water sources. And then for the river in Argentina, authorities suspect the presence of aniline, which is a toxic substance used in dyes, and they believe that it could have been dumped there by local companies. But then again, if Jesus did want to come back, it's not a bad time.
Those freaking two rivers turn red connected.
Susan Lewis and her daughter Jamie moved into a new home in Southern California, and shortly after moving in, Susan's new boyfriend Matt, he moved in as well. Also, Matt had a daughter named Marie, who was the same age as Jamie. A few weeks after moving in, Susan goes into the kitchen and she sees on the counter that a peanut butter jar had its lid off and had been turned on its side. Peanut butter seemed to be running out of the jar like it had been melted. So she figures one of the kids must have come in here and for whatever reason, microwaved the peanut butter and then dumped it on the counter. And Jamie would say that she literally laughed at her mom, like, why would I do that? And Marie too is like, no, I didn't touch the peanut butter. And all four of them spend the rest of the day goofing around outside near the pool. Later that day, they find that there have been cans that you would keep in your pantry, like canned food, stacked on each of the steps leading upstairs. They also find that there have been random objects placed all over the house in strange patterns. Hairbrushes arranged in a star pattern on the counter. They open the microwave and find peanut butter jars and other random canned foods and stuffed animals from the kids' rooms in the microwave. The cleaning materials underneath the sink had been pulled out and arranged in a height line from shortest to tallest. They think that someone's invaded their house, so they run back out again, and no one's come near their property, and ultimately just kind of moved on. In the last couple of weeks that they ever stayed at this house, because they would leave, two major events occurred. The first one happened when Marie was home alone. She's sitting in the living room watching TV, and at some point the TV starts turning off and on. And the TV finally just turns off. She can't get it on. She reaches for the remote. The remote flies off the table as all the pictures on the walls just start one by one falling off the wall. She takes her camera in her hand and kind of turns it and just starts taking pictures of the room. There are these weird orbs of light that are very clearly in the room with her. The second major event that occurred in those final 2 weeks, Jamie was in her room and she starts hearing pounding on her door. She started filming this pounding on her door.
Seen this firsthand.
And so she didn't open the door, and she went back onto her bed, and she just sat there in the fetal position for 3 hours, listening to something smashing nonstop into the door. She opens the door, and there's no one there. But the door on the outside, where the knocking had been happening, there's this huge dent and divot in the door. She sees that now there is a frying pan sitting in the hall that has a toilet paper roll completely on fire. Grabs a sweatshirt and she smothers the fire. And she goes outside defeated and just sits on the front steps of her house. Jamie explains what happens, and that was it. And so they barely packed up and they left that house. It didn't sell. Susan literally went bankrupt. And soon after they left the neighborhood, their neighbors left the neighborhood, and 5 other neighbors in their immediate vicinity all left. All of the houses did not sell. They are all vacant.
In time after stabbing her boyfriend 108 times. In 2018, 26-year-old Chad O'Melia's life was savagely taken in his apartment in California by his girlfriend. 33-year-old Bryn Spetcher says that on this day, she was tricked by Chad into smoking a highly potent strain of marijuana, which caused her to go into psychosis. She says that she remembers immediately walking into the kitchen and grabbing several knives and stabbed her dog before going after Chad and taking his life. Authorities also said that it wasn't easy restraining Bryn and that the taser didn't even work on her. Now, Bryn's defense argues that she reacted this way because she only smoked less than 6 times in her life, which that combined with the high potent marijuana explains why she took her boyfriend's life. Bryn ended up only receiving just 2 years of probation, 100 hours of community service, and no prison time.
News that
What do you
will
think
give
about
you
that?
hope. A missing 5-year-old who walked out the back door was found in a nearby river and rescued by a Florida officer. A Burger King employee who went viral recently for working 27 years and only receiving a goodie bag from Burger King was able to buy a house thanks to the donations from going viral. A man was finally arrested in a 1973 cold case. Long Beach, California has fixed nearly half of its 63,000 potholes. A stray dog that was desperate to be picked up by a pup bus got adopted. We have discovered that microplastics can be removed from water when you boil it. A California cat traveled 800 miles back home after getting lost at Yellowstone National Park. Thailand has recently seen a 250% increase in the number of tigers in the country.
The creepiest
Stay out of
places
Thailand.
in the world.
Lake Natron, Tanzania.
Due to high levels of salt contents, everything that touches the lake turns to pure stone.
Hello, my friend. That is not accurate. Lake Natron is a mineral-rich lake in Tanzania. Despite its high pH levels, it has some animals that live in it, including the Alclipia fish. The misconception that it turns anything that touches it to stone comes from these photographs. Basically, animals pass away for whatever reason, fall into the water, and become like mummified. A photographer found such animals at Lake Natron, but placed them in a position so they'd look like they're alive for the sake of the photo, which led to some awesome results. Also, this lake is actually where flamingos go to mate. If you're there at the right time, you will see millions.
Plastic surgery disasters. Anthony Lofredo before. After.
He didn't look like an
Sandra
alien.
Tabar before. After. Michael Jackson before. After.
We don't have it with Jackson.
Jocelyn Wildenstein before. After.
Yeah, she wanted to look like a
Melanie
cat.
Martinez before. After. Donatella Versace before. After. Igor and Grichka Bogdanov before. After.
How do people do that?
This mother was found brutally murdered while her quadruplet toddlers were found covered in her blood. Sheila Bellish was a mother of 6. She had her 2 older daughters from a previous marriage with a man named Alan Blackthorne. After her divorce, she then had her 4 beautiful toddlers right here with this man named Jamie Bellish. On the evening of November 7th, 1997, Sheila was found by her oldest daughter here. After she came home from school, she saw her mother on the floor with her throat slit, and her 4 younger siblings, the quadruplets, were literally crawling all over their mother's blood. Now, when you see this family, they look perfect and happy, but Sheila's past with her ex-husband is very messy. This is Sheila's ex-husband, Alan Blackthorne, and he made her life a living nightmare. So much so that she had to move her entire family from Texas all the way to Florida just to get away from him. Alan was very rich, and a lot of people described him as obnoxious and just a shitty person, but after his divorce with Sheila, he owed her over $1 million for their divorce settlement. He was not happy about that at all, so he hired this man, Jose Luis del Toro, to take Sheila's life. Jose broke into Sheila's house where no one was there except for her and her 4 toddlers, and he watched as she interacted with her babies, and he said that at one point he wanted to leave because he felt bad, but then he ended up just going through with it and he took her life. This case is extremely devastating. These 4 toddlers were forced to grow up without their mother, and then the daughter who basically saw her mother in that state, which no child should ever have to, and then not only did they lose their mother, but they also lost their father through this process. Alan Blackthorne was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in federal prison without the possibility of parole. And the hitman, Jose Luis del Toro, he did avoid the death penalty. Instead, he was given life in prison without the possibility of parole.
South Carolina, it's your turn to be shamed for having creepy things. This is a gigantic children's museum that is a boy that you can go inside its body and look at its body parts. And this is how big it is compared to humans. Yeah, his name is Eddie, and this is called Adventure, and it's in South Carolina. And look how tiny the people are compared to just its shoe. You can sit in the chair and take a picture with Eddie. I'd rather not. This is inside of Eddie's head, and you can see his eyeballs and his teeth. Also, if the children don't have faces, it's because I had to blur them out. So they might look like demons. You know what this reminds me of, though? When you're in the tubes at Chuck E. Cheese and you're trying to get your mom's attention. But yeah, look how absolutely massive that thing is compared to these kids. No. You can go on this catwalk and look at him, or you can literally just go inside him, like I said. Imagine it at night when all the lights of the museum go off and you can look through the window and see it in the pitch darkness. Look, this Eddie's brain, you can go down these slides. There's a bunch of like interactive stuff for kids, like actually climbing up and going through his heart, stuff like that. It's nightmare fuel. Kids probably aren't scared though. Meanwhile, I would be. But yeah, have you seen Eddie? Will you go see Eddie? He is in South Carolina. Y'all are going to have to tell him that I said hello because I'm not going.
Before and after images that will shock you.
Desolate.
Someone said your body my choice. I agree. The best one. It is a sickness. So here's how nature deals with that. Bonobos actually have a system where if one female gets pressed by a male and she's not feeling him, she'll let out a cry, and every female in the group will pull up and put the beats on dude until he learns respect. They actually managed to nerf male aggression through the power of friendship. So you know when a new male lion takes over a pride, the first thing he does is cancel any cubs that didn't come from his. Well, sometimes the lionesses ain't having it. Sometimes they jump the new guy. There was one case in Masai Mara where a male tried to steal food from some cubs and got absolutely obliterated by the mothers. They castrated him. I can't even show you that picture. The biggest threat to a baby bear is a bigger male, and some mother bears will purposely live closer to people, knowing that's the only thing keeping her biggest ops away. Ironically, some bears choose a man. Funny. When a capybara wants to dub a guy, she'll dive into the nearest body of water and just sit there. For as long as it takes. By the way, the guinea pig can stay under 5 minutes. Female dragonflies will fake their deaths to avoid male attention. Like they'll freeze in midair, crash to the ground, and just lay there and pray that stops him. Sometimes it doesn't. Some anacondas will seemingly let the male score, only to strangle him to a flatline and then eat him alive. The more you know.
Don't ever use a public bathroom again. This, my friends, is Akamata. Plus, drop a like, tag a friend, or she might get you. Akamata is a Japanese ghost that haunts and kills people in public bathrooms. They said that she'll walk up to you and ask you a series of questions. These are extremely important. The most important question being, would you rather choose red or blue? If you choose red, she'll chop you up into 1,000,000 pieces. If you choose blue, she'll choke you to death until your face is blue. If you try to avoid the question entirely and choose a different color, she will drag you to hell to be never seen again. My question to you guys is it worth not waiting till you get home?
I don't use public bathrooms like that, but only when
I
it's
didn't think it was
necessary.
possible, but this line was even more of a menace than I imagined. Like, I knew he was a hater, but I rewatched the doc, bro. This was Kitty King Vaughn. The more lore you get, the crazier. First, his name, Etoile Dumela.
actually isn't Swahili. I was sorry to blame the documentary, but I watched. They never said it was Swahili. I think I made it my bad. But yeah, Ntwadumella's name is Siswana, or Sisutu, and it roughly translates to, if you want the smoke, we'll bring the fire to your front door. First red flag, he ran a pride with his brother Mandevu, but while Mandevu was only after that, Ntwadumela didn't care, he craved conflict. Now here's where he earns his name. His pride was beefing with a clan of hyenas, and we're talking blood feud. You know how bad? Animals mark their scent, but usually predators don't care about the scent mark of other predators. It got so personal, the lead hyena would go out of her way to mark over the pride scent mark. And for reference, that's like painting over the set. And when you realize what hyenas mark with, you see the disrespect. Look up hyena butter. It's not the type you put on popcorn. Now add the fact they were harassing members of his pride, and you knew. Ntwadumela was not letting it slide. Here's what he did. One night the Yins and Lions were going at it, and Ntwadumela went straight for the matriarch and broke her back. Didn't even finish it, just cracked her like a glow stick and left like a sneaky link. Hyenas live in a complex hierarchy, so by crippling the leader, he basically tactically nuked their entire army. Now the diabolical part was the matriarch had a daughter who would have inherited the lead position, but because Ntwadumela went and bad-beat her mom, she lost all her status and got forced out the clan. So let's review. In one move, he assassinated the leader, left her to suffer, orphaned her daughter, ruined her future, destroyed her legacy, and caused the hyena civil war while ending theirs. Yeah, Ntwadumela got it. You've never heard a hyena stutter.
The 11-year-old sole survivor of a family.
And 6 steps, bro. My man completed the Black Air Force Energy, bro, trial. I don't know how he did that, bro. Man, don't mess with him, man. Him and his brother, they run that jungle, bro.
Family massacre in Fall City, Washington, played dead after her teenage brother allegedly opened fire at her. 5 members of the family, parents Mark and Sarah Humiston, and their children Catherine, 7, Joshua, 9, and Benjamin, 13, were killed in the shooting. The 11-year-old daughter watched in horror as her 15-year-old brother checked his victims' bodies for signs of life. After he shot her in the hand and the neck, she decided to play dead and escaped through a window after he left her room. The suspect was charged in juvenile court with 5 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of attempted murder.
This is why a notorious Colombian hit woman known as The Doll was just arrested by police yesterday for several high-profile hits, including her ex-boyfriend. And no, none of you in the comments can fix her. It's reported that 23-year-old Karen Rodriguez was labeled as highly dangerous by police and that she was in the midst of a career expansion, leading a small team of hitmen conducting a spree of you-know-what in the region prior to her arrest. And after her capture went viral online, people pointing out how much she looks like actor Aubrey Plaza are now calling for a movie to be made and for her to star as the Doll character.
Shocking facts you didn't know about power cuts. 40% of adults in the UK admit their first call would be to their mum and dad during a power cut. Who would you call? The UK's most memorable power cut happened in 1978 during national strikes. 1 in 5 British people surveyed said they would sit in the dark until the power comes back on and hope someone else solves the problem. The 2003 power cut left 500,000 people without electricity for hours. Almost half of the adults in the UK admitted they don't know about the 105 emergency helpline number. What if you or someone you love need support during a power cut? Get prepared and learn more at nationalgrid.co.uk/getswitchedon.
The weirdest world records of all
power in the UK.
In 2011, a cheerleading team of 20 people set a world record. This record was fitting every single person into this tiny smart car. Now here's an interesting record that was broken by a woman in Japan. She popped 123 balloons with just her butt in 1 minute. I guess leg day really does pay off.
People you won't believe exist. Eli Thompson. He was born without a nose. Paul Carrison. His skin color is purple-blue.
Why? We heard about the blue people before.
Isaiah Acosta. He was born without jaw and ability to speak, but become a rapper.
I never heard any of his work.
B. Melvin. She has naturally white hair since birth.
Yeah, she looked like a, she has that Targaryen hair.
Darina Spingler. She was born without chin and lips.
Stillwater. We've already talked about Stillwater, but I had a dream last night that I fell in some Stillwater, so I'm going to make it everyone else's problem. Stillwater is, get this, when water is still still. It mostly occurs in like abandoned places, obviously, because there's no, vacuum keeping the water moving. So it's very, very dangerous, as we've already talked about. There are like a bunch of like brain-eating amoebas probably in here, and don't fall in it. I found this picture on Reddit, and my soul left my body. Why does that look like a wig? Why does it look like the Grudge is in chocolate milk, and it's coming to kill me? This one looks like Shrek and Fiona had some fun in it, if you get my drift. This one is more liminal spaces, but the decals of, are those whales or dolphins, on the bottom of the pool would send me into cardiac arrest. Any pools that have anything on the bottom of them, like a decal or something, count me out, because I'm already scared there's a shark in there. Why are there so many abandoned pools that have not been cleaned out? Why? This abandoned YMCA with this water sitting in there for like 5 to 10 years? Why? Yeah, still water is dangerous, y'all. Don't mess with it. This is horrifying. I don't know why it's so much less scary to think about falling in water that is, aerated, no movement is so much scarier. How do you feel about still water?
Do not watch
Stay away from it.
It will unalive you. Why is this known as the most deadly film on Earth? Movie Antrim is about two siblings who accidentally dig a hole that leads to hell. It's reportedly caused over 60 unalives, and when you start the film it even comes up with a legal warning that you have to read. Need people mysteriously passing away after watching this film. So, this actually released in 2018, but the actual original Antrim released in 1970. Rumoured to have been completely lost because you cannot find it anywhere, even though there is documentation of it being shown in theatres, which I'll get to. So, several film festivals who received the movie back in the 70s, people that got it vanished, passed away. But by far the craziest, a movie theatre completely catching alive while the film was being screened. In 1988, in Budapest, the film Antrim was showed. It burned down and unalived 56 people. This is an actual photo from the scene. This is 100% real. There is still no trace what caused this fire, and the reel that the film played off remained intact, completely unharmed. All of these events caused Antrim to become the most cursed film and dangerous film on the planet. You can watch this new version. As I say, it has a pretty severe warning at the start, but I do not recommend it. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it.
He broke a world record because police forgot about him. In 1979, 18-year-old Andreas Mijovich was taken into police custody following a car accident. Now, he was simply the passenger of the car and had absolutely no involvement with the wreck. But despite this, he was placed in a basement holding cell by Austrian police. Now, he should have been promptly released, but they kind of forgot about him. The three officers who were all involved with the case all thought that another one had already released him. It wasn't until the room he was in began to smell that they found him 18 days later. During his incarceration, he had lost over 50 pounds and survived by drinking condensed water on the prison walls. His mother repeatedly visited the police station asking the whereabouts of her son, and she was ignored. During the trial, all three officers kind of just put the blame on one another. But they did all receive a pretty hefty fine, and Andreas was awarded the 250,000 shillings that he demanded. To this day, even though he didn't try, he still holds the Guinness World Record for the longest surviving time without food or water.
I got 250,000. Nah, I would have had to get a meal off that. Bump that, man. Kept me in there 18 days without food or water, and he survived? They all should have
I know
got fired.
you know this holiday movie, but do you know these movie facts? Holiday Horror Advent Calendar Day 6, and today is Black Christmas, 2006 version. I hope this doesn't get me canceled, but I love the original Black Christmas, but I prefer this one. Black Christmas is about this escaped maniac who goes back to his childhood home, which is now a sorority house, and wreaks havoc on the sorority sisters. Movie trivia number 1. In the background of one of the scenes, we see something very familiar. You can spot the leg lamp from the movie A Christmas Story, which was directed by Bob Clark, who also directed the original Black Christmas. Movie trivia number 2. The movie was filmed in Canada and only took 29 days to complete filming. Movie trivia number 3. Writer and director Glenn Morgan really wanted to expand on Billy's character because he felt like that's what was missing in the original Black Christmas, so when he was coming up with different character traits, he studied one very specific person. He based a lot of character traits and backstory on real-life serial unaliver Edmund Kemper.
What is the biggest difference between Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and the new age slasher Art the Clown? It's this one thing.
Gen slashers always hold true to this, because they're not threats. But will Art the Clown see it that way? I don't know, because from what I've been told, the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most disgusting, disturbing, and shocking things we've ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because Terrifier 2 is absolutely insane, especially the bedroom scene. People were literally running out of the theaters and throwing up when they first saw Terrifier 2. And if the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most shocking and disturbing things we've seen from Art, what does that mean for this little person? What's gonna happen? Because from the countless set photos we've seen, Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus and going to the mall. Meaning he's gonna have a ton of people around him sitting on his lap and telling him what he wants for Christmas. Now, we already know what Art the Clown wants for Christmas. He wants to decorate with people. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions and tagged in this video. Do I think Art the Clown is genuinely gonna pack this kid up? I don't know. I don't think Damien Leone is going to go that far, but if it's been said that this movie is going to be 10 times shocking, especially the first 5 minutes, and we've already seen the 2-minute clip where Buddy's going crazy downstairs, I really don't know if I would put it past Art the Clown for him to do this. I just kind of hope not.
So much has happened in the last 24 hours, it's insane. California was hit with a 7.0 magnitude earthquake, which then triggered a tsunami warning, which was then cancelled. The French government has literally collapsed after their prime minister was booted out in the first successful vote of no confidence in over 60 years. Romania's constitutional court has just ordered their presidential elections to restart from scratch after intelligence documents suggested that the winner of the first round benefited from a mass foreign influence operation. People are calling for the Hawk girl to be investigated after she launched a meme coin that dropped over 90% of its value overnight, losing people millions of dollars. The words carved onto the shell's use in the killing of United Health CEO claim to lead to this book titled Delay, Deny, Defend: Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. The Czech Republic has just passed a bill exempting Bitcoin held for more than 3 years from capital gains tax starting 2025. The family of the teenage boy who fell to his death on the drop ride at Orlando theme park in 2022 has just been awarded a huge $310 million payout. TikTok lost its appeal to strike down the TikTok ban law, and NASA has just delayed its first mission to put humans on the moon in over 50 years to no earlier than mid-2027.